The pledge, please. Mr. Murphy, can you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In a moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting the good fight in Ukraine, and those that are suffering in the Middle East conflict. Thank you. And Sal, before you take that, if anybody would like to make comment tonight concerning East Street School, can you please put your name on here if you'd like. Sal, let's see if anybody else who just came in would like to put their name on if they'd like to speak at the public meeting. Going once, going twice. Once, twice. You want to comment for this meeting? Be that one over there, sir? He has. Two. You're talking about the first meeting, the 6:15 meeting? Yeah. That gentleman there has a sign. That is for the 7 o'clock. That's different thing. Okay, Sal. All right. So, I'd like to start this meeting. I'd like to first read the public notice that was in the News Times. There will be a public meeting to discuss and provide opportunity for input and suggestions concerning the usage of East Street School in New Milford. Anyone not able to attend in person can send an email with any suggestions to the town at mayor@newmilford.org. Said public meeting shall be held Monday, January 22nd, 2024, at 6:15 in the E. Paul Martin Room, second floor of the Town Hall, 10 Main Street, New Milford, Connecticut, 06776, dated this 12th day of January 2024. That being said, Sal, if you could please have the first name, and we're going to keep that to
Ms. Kopchak? Oh, Mr. Kopchak, I'm sorry.
Good evening. I ask that the minutes of...
Sir, can you just give your name and address for the record, please?
Tom Kapsiak, 94 Long Mountain Road. I ask that the minutes of today's public meeting include copies of the 5 reports that include discussions of the 50 East Street building, so that the reports are part of the record of this meeting. The reports are the following. The town's Facilities Utilization Subcommittee final report dated August 13th, 2018. Secondly, the report entitled Reimagine East Street School, Adaptive Reuse Study, prepared by Peary Associates, dated, a draft report was on the website dated 9/20/2019. I believe it's been replaced by an updated version, which is not marked draft. That's available on the town's website. The peer review report includes a discussion and analysis of 3 possible uses of the East Street building. The first is continued use by the municipality. The second is housing constructed by a private developer. And finally, the third one is a mixed-use development done under the auspices of a public-private partnership. The report recommends that the report be shared with the community in an effort to solicit additional public input, that the town define and prioritize the town's goals for the property, and then once those needs are defined, the town prioritize and analyze the options it chooses to consider. The next report is the Lillis Administration Building Facility Study dated September 7th, 2017, that was prepared by Kyer, Garment, and Davidson as architects for the New Milford School District. This report is referenced in the Peary report and is described in the Peary report as being part of the basis for their report. I sent a copy of this report to the mayor last Friday so it could be uploaded to the town's website. Next is the Catherine Lillis Administration Building Conditions Assessment Report dated October 6th, 2023, prepared by Sover Petroselli and Associates. And lastly, the Limited Hazardous Building Materials Inspection Report dated October 2nd, 2023, prepared by Fuss and O'Neill. I suggest that anyone involved with decisions regarding the future of East Street take the time to read all of these reports. 4 of them were available on the newmilford.org website as of earlier today. Interested parties can view the reports by clicking on the Community tab at the top of the town's webpage, and then by clicking on the Community Development tab in the menu along the left-hand edge of the community page. Lastly, I recommend that the town, in collaboration with the school district, prepare and publish an updated facilities utilization report that discusses the current status of the town's and the school district's buildings and properties, as well as a projection of future needs for a reasonable planning period, such as 10 years. This updated report will provide critical context for any future discussions regarding the East Street building and should be available for review prior to any decisions regarding East Street being made. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Ms. Ram.
Hi, Hillary Ram, 154 Guernsey Lane. I really struggled deciding if I should come here tonight and speak on the topic of East Street School, also known as the Lillis Building. I wonder if this is all just performative. I wonder if you really want to hear from people. Do you really care what people want? Or have the decisions already been made and this is performative to satisfy the ordinance? I mean, if I was you, I really, really, really would care and want to know what people want to do with this building. But we shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't have to be making this decision right now. This building was knowingly neglected, and I do come to this issue feeling angry about it. When you read the KG&D report from 2017, why did you do nothing? It clearly exposed the situations in that building and what needed to be done. And then the Peary report, you got a $20,000 grant, which you must have applied for, to evaluate the best possible options for the Lillis building, a study that gathered public input, and you did not share the findings with the public or the town council. It's shameful that nothing was done for 6 years to maintain the beloved asset, the town asset of this building. We know it is beloved because we know we can read in the POCD how people feel about this building.
So we're now being asked to weigh in on what to do with this building. Keep it, sell it, or some combination. But the problem, in my opinion, is that we don't have enough information to make a good decision or even to give meaningful opinions right now. It's just going to be emotion or fear-based. The information or the context that we need is the whole town plan, how this fits in, the vision that you have for New Milford. What I took away from the Peary report was the second action step that they lay out, which is, I quote, define and prioritize the town's goals for the property. The first goal, generate long-term tax revenue for the property. Second, maintain public and community use of Lillis building and grounds. Third, increase housing options and downtown population to benefit and encourage town center businesses and economic growth. Choosing one of these goals will point us in the direction of what we will do with the Lillis building. But in order to do this, we need answers to some foundational questions. And these are the questions that just come to my mind, but I think it's a town-wide question. What are our core values? What are the town's needs for space currently and in the future? Sort of what Mr. Kospiak was pointing to. For everything, Board of Education needs, youth agency, social services, Parks and Rec, DPW. I think that we need a professional needs assessment. Then how many units are being built, developed, or in contract right now in New Milford? How far along are you on your plan process for moving DPW and committing to the riverfront project? People want to know the truth and not learn about these things on the day that the vote is happening or that these meetings are happening. We want to be involved and we want to know what's going on. You see, what we do with the Lillis building ties into all of these decisions. It's all interconnected. But right now it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we're flying blind and things are just happening to us. So our town is changing. We know that. Change happens. But we have to get very smart about how these changes happen. And we have to have a strategy that aligns with our core values. So that it's happening according to a plan, that we're in control of the plan. Because this, having to vote on this right now, with the state of the way the building is right now, doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like planning. It feels like failure. We failed the building. Thank you.
Hillary, do you want to put those in the minutes?
Ms. Loretta, I'm sorry, Michelle. Michelle Igor?
Hi, my name is Michelle Ligori. I'm at 2 Tramita Court, New Milford. I'm an elder law attorney in town. I work with a lot of seniors. On the Commission on Aging, the committee, the triad for senior safety, and I have volunteered my time with seniors in this town my entire life. And as far as talking about suggestions and possible uses for East Street, I couldn't think of anything better than either senior housing or assisted living. My clients come to me and they are either looking for senior housing, which in this town we've got Chestnut Grove, which is sometimes too expensive. We've got Butterbrook and Glen Eyre for subsidized housing, but the waiting lists are sometimes too long for people and they end up having to go to other towns. And we've got nursing homes, but for those who need something in between, we offer nothing here. And what better location than something that's close to town, that's walkable to the senior center, the library, our town center, CVS, the hospital. It's all right there. If we want to preserve the building, you can preserve the facade, you can preserve the stained glass, the history that's there, but you need to make it accessible. It needs to be ADA compliant, and we need a place to put our seniors. Some can drive when they're in assisted living, but for those who can't, being that close to town would provide so many opportunities for people. And for anyone who doesn't know, the difference with assisted living is that there's a call button in every room, and there is 24-hour security. They also provide some level of care, housekeeping, meals. This is stuff that's not available to our residents. So my clients, who I see, who need something like this, they end up going to Brookfield, Bethel, Newtown, Danbury, and then when they need a higher level of care, they usually stay there. They don't come back to New Milford. But if they were living here and their families come to visit for birthdays and holidays, where are they going to go? They're going to come to our town center, and they're going to go to our restaurants and see our shops. And that's what we want. We want to preserve our small town community. Our population's only aging. People are living longer, which is great. We have them with us longer, but we need to take care of them. It's my 2 cents.
Making,
Ms. Krechko.
Hello, Loretta Kretschko, 78 South Kent Road in Gaylordsville, which is New Milford. Good evening. I am a native of New Milford. I attended East Street School. It has special meaning to me, as well as most of the people who are here who are around my age. We have special ties to these schools. I had sat on the board of the Historic Trust for Preservation. I am currently vice president of the New Milford Historical Society. My heart here is in this town. I was going to stand up here and refer to the Peary report, but the first gentleman said everything that was needed to say. I sat at that meeting with probably between 50 to 75 people who sat on round tables and all came up with wonderful decisions, ideas about what to do with the school, very positive, to include saving the window. And if anybody isn't familiar with the window or the WPA mural, please, there's information at the Historical Society. The Historic Trust for Preservation has information on these WPA projects. Go and see for yourself what they're all about. So it's not just a building, there's art and history involved here. There were a lot of good ideas, so if we can go back to that Peary report, we wouldn't all need to be here. The grant was granted by the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation. They paid money to do this, and all the ideas are probably still how people feel in this town. So go back to the report, please, and see what we spent a lot of time deciding. Thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Lou. Ms. Lou?
Hello, I'm Lou Mandler. I'm chair of the New Milford Arts Commission.
And your address, please?
90 Aspatuck Avenue. And it is our earnest hope that the East Street building could be preserved and dedicated as a cultural and artistic center, and so that it would be continued to be part of the municipal part of New Milford. You know, New Milford has a thriving art community. We have visual arts and dance organizations that are very vibrant, but we don't have a place of any physical place that different organizations can come together and plan programs or present programs for more than 30 people. And it could be used for more than gatherings of 30 people. It could be used for, you know, collaborating between these different arts organizations so that we're not all just operating from our separate silos. And it is true that art does bring business to town. Art isn't just some fluff thing. It does bring tourists to town. It strengthens the community. We just heard about the federal arts project that the WPA put on and commissioned the mural and the stained glass in the building. And the purpose of these was to have public art in public buildings so that the public could enjoy them. And so it seems like it would be a shame to have these public art pieces just put someplace where only private people could view them. It just seems like it's another reason why this should be dedicated to some kind of an art, cultural building. Thank you.
There's more, Mr. Mayor. One second. Joe?
Good evening. Joseph DiGregorio, 18 Cobbler Lane, New Milford, Connecticut. As a resident of the town, I have served on a bunch of boards and commissions here in the town, and I'm still on the Board of Finance, as you guys know, but I'm not here on an official Board of Finance business this evening. So many of the things that I wanted to say have already been said by people who have come up to this microphone. As a resident of the town, I feel that there are very few opportunities to be able to preserve historic landmarks in the town. Those historic landmarks will invariably drive people to come and visit the town over the years, whether it's Boardman Bridge or Lover's Leap or the Lillis Building, East Street School. And my biggest fear is that you let that building go and it turns into a private business or a private entity, and the town no longer has control or the ability to preserve the building. It is a historically registered property, and I think that we should take care in the decisions that we make. Now, I know it's not my decision to make as to what we do with the building, because I would love to see us sell John Pettibone Community Center or Municipal Office or whatever it currently is at the moment, and take the funds from that and restore Boardman Bridge and the East Street School. But you know, those decisions will be made, and you know, I think Ms. Ram was 100% correct in saying that part of making that decision is having a plan for what it is exactly that we're going to do as a town moving forward, and how we're going to manage the litany of properties that we do have control over, right? The Century Brass Mill, DPW, John Pettibone Community Center, right? And one of the things when I was on the Facilities Utilization Committee that we talked about, again, that's in one of the many reports that was cited by previous people standing at this podium this evening, is that there are certain buildings that it would behoove us to hold on to and to maintain, and one of those was the East Street School. Hopefully, you know, town council will, you know, take the time and the energy and the effort to put together a solid plan and let the people of the town make a decision as to how we would like to move forward. Thank you.
Mr. Anastas?
Hi, my name is Mike Anastas, 21 Lake Point Drive. I come here with very mixed feelings. The first feeling I need to get rid of is indignation that I did not know about this very important meeting. I don't think it was noticed properly, and I think that there are lots of people who have feelings about this precious property that would have liked to have spoken tonight, but how in the world were they noticed? There was nothing in our weekly paper, and I think that you should be more careful about noticing meetings. On the other hand, I love the facade of the East Street School. There are precious artworks there. It would cost at least $12 million to protect them. And that's an old estimate. With inflation, it could be 15 or 18 or $20 million to preserve East Street School. It is too late. There have been a number of developers who promised to preserve the facade and artwork and build behind there the apartments that we desperately need. There are builders who also arranged for the 60 spaces for the theater to be preserved. And there is no reason to spend 12 or 15 or $18 million of taxpayer money when there is an opportunity to have a developer give us a building that preserves the facade and gives us a real estate income into the future rather than a negative loss. Thank you very much.
Ms. Furman?
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council members. For the record, my name is Lipa Furman, 60 Colonial Ridge Drive in Gaylordsville. I want to thank you for holding this meeting tonight, asking for public input. I saw the notice through my Notify New Milford mail that comes to me every day. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it in the mayor's newsletter, on the doors of Town Hall. So thank you for putting the notice out. And I'm also sure this is not going to be the last time that you hold a public input meeting on the subject, but I think this is a good beginning. You'll hear later from me this evening, and those of you who care to stay till the end of the meeting, I'll be sharing some presentations on the Riverfront Revitalization Committee progress and also on the Connecticut designation of New Milford as a cultural district. And this East Street School ties in perfectly. If you recall, the concept plan for Riverfront actually shows connections from the riverfront all the way to the East Street School, and recommends that it be used for possibly housing, senior housing, arts. And as the Connecticut Cultural District co-chairman with Lou Mandler, who you just heard speak a few minutes ago, we are going to be presenting why New Milford should become a cultural asset. We will also be holding a public meeting for those who'd like to come on February 5th. I believe it's Tuesday night, downstairs in the Loretta Brickley room. The East Street School is a jewel. It's kind of like an old Mercedes that's been sitting in the garage for too many years with the engine oil leaking and the carburetor broken and the windows cracked. It can be restored. It can be fixed. Who does it and how we do it, that's the question. But it needs to be kept as it is, with the facade and the beautiful artwork that's in there. The downstairs area, the old gym, is perfect for a performing arts center. As an aside, I'm the executive director of the Sherman Chamber Ensemble, which is a musical performance group. There's really no place to play in New Milford other than the churches that let us, go in and use it, or when we do a really big concert up at Canterbury School. So there are lots of other groups like us that need places to perform, to do things, to hold activities, to hold shows, and for the town to be able to bring in cultural activities for our residents. And that basement would be a perfect location. It can be retrofitted in a number of ways, as the peer review report talks about 2 ways to do that, but I'm sure there are other ways as well. And the other point about, I believe it should stay in public hands as either a public-private partnership or with public controls over however we let the land go, because they're not making land anymore, especially not in the center of town. And, we're not going to be able to find, talk about planning for the future. Let's think way ahead, when New Milford will need more land to do more things. And so I think we need to keep control of that. An example of a school that's been converted into a cultural arts center is right in Ridgefield, our neighbors to the south, which have the Ridgefield Playhouse, which is a major generator of tourism, of visitors, bringing people to their restaurants, to their shops, to their businesses. It's a parallel to what the East Street School could become. So I just wanted to put those 2 cents in, and I look forward to coming to more meetings and more discussions on the use of the school. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go, I think February 6th is the day you can meet.
Tuesday?
Yeah, the Tuesday, February 6th.
Yes, it will be Tuesday, February 6th. Thank you.
Ms. Angela Barna?
My name is Angela Barna. I live at 4 Santa Lane in New Milford. And I would hope that primarily the Lillis building would be kept for affordable housing and senior housing. My husband and I have thought of downsizing, and we love New Milford and wish to stay here. Connecticut Magazine chose TheaterWorks as the best small theater in the state of Connecticut in 2022. Also, Faith Church and Canterbury School often have free cultural events that are goodwill. For one, they're having New Milford Police Union this Thursday at 7:30, a Golden Oldies concert, and it's totally goodwill. Canterbury often does things like that. And since the library has opened, there's a lot of art on display. Also, I wanted to address the issue of parking for Theatre Works and the Lifestar helicopter. In thinking of downsizing, my husband and I have considered a location at 25 Church Street, where there are 17 apartments. I saw a preliminary blueprint, and each of the apartments will have a washer and dryer, and each of the apartments will have a garage. And that is because they're doing the parking right in town, on the side of Town Hall, on the first level. There will be 4 levels of apartments. So I'm thinking if the building, the Lillis building, could be used for housing or mixed use, senior and affordable housing, especially affordable housing. It's easy to get to public transportation. The parking could be on the first level, and you still have a lot of space left. So these were my concerns. Thank you.
Mr. Frank Russo? Yes.
Good evening. It would be nice for the, I'm sorry?
Your name and address, please?
Oh, yes, Frank Russo, 24 Standish Road, New Milford. It would have been nice sitting in the audience, being able to hear the people that spoke. So I don't want to repeat everything that they already said. So let me just start out by saying I'm in favor of the town holding the property and the building and restoring it. Besides the point at this point in time is I'd like to know who's going to make the decision about this building and the property. Who will be exploring all the options that are there through financing, through the cost to the town, to the benefits of the town. Right now, we just have people saying we would like the town to keep the building, but then, somebody's going to say, well, we don't got the $20 million. Well, it should be explored first. And it would be nice to know who's going to do that. Thank you very much.
Miss Melanie Martin?
Good evening, Melanie Martin, 10 Glenridge Court. I didn't come prepared to speak, so I'm just winging it, but I am in favor of the town keeping the building, and I really think we're talking about 2 buildings, like a few people have mentioned. I think that Theatre Works is really, even though it's separate, it's really important for the parking for Theatre Works to remain accessible, because they have 0 parking. And for anybody that doesn't know, Theatre Works was the first black church in New Milford. And I think that's a very historic building, and I think we have to keep that in mind too. And a lot of people have come up with some really good ideas, but I hope with maybe some grant money and some creative thinking, we can come up with a way to preserve East Street, because I think it's worth it. Thank you.
Miss Christine Daly?
Here I am.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Christine Daly. My address is 5 Brookside Avenue, which is the address for Theatre Works. But I spend enough time there to say I live there. I'm here, and we have some wonderful patrons in the audience, as well as our newest board member, Mac Lipscomb, to speak on behalf of the parking situation, which has come up a number of times. I feel like I do this every other year. in some way or another. So I recognize a lot of you, and I want to say that we have a mailing list of about 5,000 people who regularly communicate with us, not only from this area, but from as far as New York City, come to Theater Works to see what we've got going on. So it brings a lot of patrons to the town of New Milford, which is very beneficial economically. And whatever happens to East Street School, and I love the idea of arts and culture because, of course, it's all related. We're just, the town has very graciously let us use the parking since the 70s, is my understanding, with a little easement. Whether or not that's on paper, I don't know. But we're hoping that whatever happens, we maintain the parking for the theater, otherwise we'd have to close it. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
I don't have anybody else, Mr. Mayor.
One last call. Anybody else like to come up and? Walter?
I didn't sign up.
It's all right. Come on up, sir. Walter, you can tell Stephanie your address so we can put it for the minutes.
Oops. My name is Walter Bear. I live at 137 Kennewood Mountain Road. You know, this East Street School has been a millstone forever. Let me make my comment short. Sell the building. Get it off our backs, Mr. Mayor. The value is the land. That's where the value is. I know it has historic stuff. We can deal with that. We had an opportunity a while ago to get rid of that to a developer, but that didn't pan out. We do not need to be spending millions of dollars for a restoration of a building that frankly is a dinosaur, and they're extinct. Sell the building. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone from the council like to talk up at the podium?
Sure.
Okay. Katie? You be next, Paul?
Katie Francis, 123 Candlewood Mountain Road. I appreciate all the people who came this evening, and I hope that on future meetings regarding some of our buildings, be they dinosaurs or cultural diamonds we should keep, because it's all the decision to be made by the people who live in this town. You're the taxpayers, you're the people who've been here for years and years, or maybe you just moved here. Having an opinion on what one might want to do with that building that could run the gamut forever. We could sit here and make little groups up. But the bottom line, it is a very beautiful building, was when I first started to go to school there too, Loretta. And when my father went to high school there or played basketball upstairs, and you look at the Richmond building, that was also a school, and now it's a perfectly functional spot. So I think we need to go back and look over what was done in the past as far as studying it. And I do believe 100%, as the mayor does, I think I can speak for him on this, and the rest of the council, we want the people who live here, who come every day, pay your taxes, you love our town, we want you to make that decision. So we can give you options, you can bring options right to the mayor, and band together if there's a group of you. There's always strength in numbers. Some of you would like an arts center. I think it's great. I think housing would be wonderful too. I know what it's like to be a senior who loves this town but has very, very few options to downsize and stay in this town. And I know many of you will shake your head at that. So I just want to say that we don't speak during public comment, and I know that we do speak when we're just chatting about it, just like you are. And I think we all feel that it is a decision to be made by everybody. And so we will get to that point. I know it's frustrating, more so for some than others, but good things do take time. So thanks again for coming, and I hope that all the ensuing meetings, the rest of you come and you bring your friends.
Thank you, Kate. Alex?
Alexandra Thomas, 187 Aspetuck Ridge Road. Lots of ideas for that building. I, too, went to school in that building. And fond memories for a lot of people. But I think it's premature to make any decisions because we don't have a plan for the entire town. I'm in favor of working on a plan for the town that speaks to what we are, why we are, what we want to be, what the future looks like. I'm fearful that we do little things here and there. Housing goes up left and right, but there's no overall plan. And I would like to encourage us to have a conversation about a town planner who's trained in New England towns, helping communities take care of what we have and grow responsibly. We don't have to spend a fortune if we have a plan. And I feel also that if the decision is to spend money, there could easily be grant money available. But it's too soon to talk about any of that without a plan for the whole town. So as Riverfront Revitalization mentions, East Street was included in that. Again, premature, because we don't know what we want as a bigger picture for our community. I was born here, raised here, my son is here, he has his business here. I would really love us to have a better plan on the whole before we make any decisions on a single building. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call, anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Thanks, Mike. Lastly, just as housekeeping, there is no, as some people came up here tonight to talk about, there is no vote tonight, nor tomorrow night, on the sale of East Street School. I have heard from a few of you is we should have a plan. Absolutely. 100%. And here's the really good news. We've never had a full capital plan for all of our town buildings, because they are town buildings, right? We finally got to that conclusion, that the town of New Milford owns all their municipal buildings. So that's great news. Great news. I've walked all the school buildings, spoken to the superintendent, spoken, right, to the chairman, Chairman Fallenbach, and they all agree. We all need to come up with a full plan for all of our buildings. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start talking about our buildings. One of them happens to be East Street School. What is the public that we do? Councilwoman Francis talked about it, as I've said all along. These buildings are going to be voted on by the residents of New Milford. We are going to decide what we're going to do with our buildings. This is way more important than one person, 9 people on a board, another 9 on another board. This is important stuff. And you're absolutely right. We need to know exactly what the costs are going to be, what everything is, because, ladies and gentlemen, there's lots of headwinds facing this town. I can assure you. You have East Street School. You have John Pettibone, of which we're going to talk about as well, and the cost for that building. You have a public works facility that massively needs an upgrade. You have all of our municipal buildings, whether they're on the school side or the town side, that continue to need repairs, some rebuilding. So these are all things that we're all going to talk about and all see and make those decisions wide-eyed and knowing. So you're exactly right, but you have to start. And where you want to start is the public. What do you want to do with your buildings? As someone talked about the Perry report, right? That was pre-COVID, by the way. Okay, one of the things they talked about was public input. That's what we want to hear, is continued public input. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but what does New Milford 2023 look like compared to New Milford 2019? Totally different. So you need to have that public input. You need to decide where we're going to go, how things are going to be used, and that's going to be done in a very fashionable, and it's going to be done in a methodical way. So tonight, please don't leave here thinking that this building's being sold, that we're going to go vote on it tomorrow morning, because that's not true. We're going to be talking about these buildings, all of our town buildings, all of our municipal buildings, and how we're going to use those in the best way possible and fashionable for the town of New Milford. So please stay tuned for tonight's town council meeting, as it's coming up probably in about a minute or so. And I thank you all for coming to the meeting tonight, and we'll continue to address East Street School and all of our schools at the next meeting as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. Thank you.
701, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Good job.
Okay.
Yes, it's right there. For the town council, it's right there.
Walking behind Tom.
Thanks, Mike. Make sure we have some people. Ray, do you want the people to their room over there?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Want to get seats for people, I think. On the weather. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Have a seat.
We can all stand for the pledge. Thank you. We all stand for the pledge. Mayor Gambino, can you lead us in pledge, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having a moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting the good fight in the Ukraine, and those that are suffering in the Middle East conflict. Thank you. Katie?
Like to follow along, if you'd like. This is the America's Creed by William Tyler Page. I
Believe in the United States of America, the government of the people,
of the people,
by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies.
Who's on the line?
Chris?
Tom?
Chris is here for the,
Chris, and then who else? Tom, okay. Is that it? Is that everybody?
Yep. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Sal?
Mr. Kopchak.
My name's Tom Kapsiak. I live at 94 Long Mountain Road.
Yeah, speak up.
Can't hear you.
Speak up. The mic isn't powered up.
In light of the controversy regarding the respective responsibilities for the maintenance of facilities owned by the town but occupied by the town's school district, I request that the town's attorney and the school district's attorney be asked to present a seminar, if you will, for the town council and the Board of Education that will describe the relevant state statutes that enable and/or constrain the maintenance of those facilities. Given past history, I believe that such a presentation and a follow-up discussion will be critical to the successful maintenance of the affected properties going forward. Hopefully, we can avoid a repeat of our experience with the East Street building. It would be helpful to have such a seminar scheduled as soon as possible for one of the upcoming joint meetings between the Town Council and the Board of Education. During the attorney's presentation, it would also be helpful to confirm what documents get exchanged between the town and the school district at the time that the school district occupies a town-owned building. Those documents will help clarify the roles and responsibilities of the respective parties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Ram.
Hi, Hillary Ram, 154 Guernsey Lane. I noticed on the agenda a lot of appointments for tonight's meeting, and I just wanted to hear about where the opioid settlement committee is. I know that we received 17,000, and I've been asking for quite some time to know if we've received anything else in addition to the 17,000. So have we received anything else? Maybe we'll hear from our finance director. We got this passed, I think it was in July, so I'm just confused why it's taking so long to build the committee, because 17,000 to get out there for people who are hurting and need it is we gotta, let's move on this. So I've given you a couple names. I've told you I'm willing to serve on the committee. I just hope that maybe you can make a motion tonight and put those 2 names that you have from me on there, myself and Brandon, and get it put in here. And then let's get the ball rolling and get this money out to people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Michelle Igor. Michelle Igor?
I think she left. I think she was at the first meeting.
She's at the first meeting, Sal.
So she's here too, anyway.
Okay.
Joe De Gregorio?
That was from the last meeting.
One less. Yeah, I was there too, yes. Mr. Onassis?
It's pretty hard to get up when you're 86 years old. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. It's Mike Anastas, 21 Lake Point Drive. Before I get started, I'm going to ask you for something. It is nearly impossible to hear the speakers or one another when the air conditioning's on, and I wish you found a way to amplify the meeting for us who come to attend, as well as the broadcast. If it could be done both ways, that would be desirable. I'm here tonight because I don't believe that, with the exception of those of us here in the room, 2 out of 10 voters or registered voters in New Milford know that there is a problem at the high school. There is a problem with the roof that could cost taxpayers millions of dollars unless it's resolved without liability. About 40% of the roof, the new metal roof, pardon me, was installed improperly. I seriously doubt that anybody knows that. Each metal roof panel is held down by clips or clasps that are screwed on before the next panel is applied on top of it. The original roofing contractor attached the metal roof panels with only 1 screw for each clip, rather than 2 screws as specified by the manufacturer. Sounds like a detail, but there's ramifications to all of this. The contractor was eventually fired in connection with the multi-million-dollar fires caused during construction. The town is now faced with the question, number 1, what do we do about the missing screw? The manufacturer may not warranty these panels that were installed with just 1 screw per clamp instead of 2. Small detail. We're facing millions of dollars over a detail for want of a... Number 2, another question is whether insurance would cover the liability. If these roof panels were to blow off in a microblast or tornado and cause damage to passing cars or neighborhood homes, not to mention students and faculty, part of the new roof cannot be certified and cannot be bonded until this is resolved. An important question is who should be liable and for the repairs, the taxpayers or the manufacturer, the contractor, or the bonding company. These issues have not been fully brought to the public. I'm not saying we could solve them. We just need to know about them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Miss Lucy Wildnick? Wildnick. Thanks for correcting me. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Appreciate your service, especially a night like tonight, so many hours, I'm sure, ahead of you. My name is Lucy Wildrick. Address is 6 South Main Street. And I understand, I believe that the mayor has given the thumbs up to the preparation and submission of an application to the Connecticut Recreation Trails Grant Program, which is terrific. As was made clear in the Malone and McBroom 2019 report, and in any number of public presentations then and since, the river trail is expected to be completed in parts. If they can be connected as they go, all the better, as that would create a longer trail, which is what so many people seek. But progress on any section of the trail is a step ahead. The 2019 vision plan identified a path for the trail, taking into account a path throughout the length of the town, taking into account many factors, including land ownership, presence of public assets, practical feasibility, and cost. But other factors and considerations have and will always arise. In order to keep this trail moving forward, the seats on the Greenway Committee approved in 2020 must finally be filled, and with people with a passion for multi-use trails and the professional and personal expertise to evaluate the varied issues that arise. I implore you to search widely for these people and to appoint members to the Greenway Committee now. Too much time has already been wasted, poignantly pointed out by Rob Watzak at our last meeting on the 8th of January. It's time to take real and consistent action. We've heard on a number of occasions your verbal support for the river trail, and that's appreciated. What we haven't seen, though, to date is much action. By filling those empty seats on the Greenway Committee, you will demonstrate your support for the trail with visible action. By directing the preparation and submission of the application for this year's Recreational Trails Grant, and ultimately to accept the grant, should we be so lucky, you will be taking concrete steps towards further implementation. Finally. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else with the Waldrick name, is there? Okay, sure, sorry.
Hi, Lawrence Wildrick, 6 South Main Street. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the New Milford River Trail expansion. After having observed the town's actions over the last several years, it is clear to me that there has not been a viable process in place to address any due diligence on river trail expansion. The history of the town's review process has consisted of a series of studies, numerous presentations, private meetings with the mayor, and concerned citizens speaking from this podium for many years. What this has added up to is a long-term kicking of the river trail can down the road without any resolution. Frankly, this approach has not been a success. However, as is done with many important decisions the town has to make, the town committee structure is the most viable entity for the study and feasibility of future river trail expansion. I urge the mayor and the town council to appoint qualified citizens to a standalone Greenway Committee as promised, and give the New Milford River Trail and the people of New Milford the structure for thoughtful due diligence that the river trail deserves. Thank you.
Lauren, you want to submit those to the minutes?
Pardon me?
You want to submit those to the minutes, your comments?
Mr. John Beinson?
Hi, I'm John Binzen, 14 Pleasant Street, and I'd like to express my very strong support for the River Trail and for moving that project forward. I was recruited at the beginning of the River Trail's life by Tom O'Brien, at which point Lisa Arison was also on the committee, and I had nothing like their stamina or their selflessness in pushing this forward, but I've been just very impressed with the work that's gone on, the dedication they've shown, that everybody on the committee has, and at their relentlessness. But I've been less than impressed with the action. It's really time that we move this thing forward. It's a really good idea. It would be helpful to New Milford. It would be helpful in connecting New Milford to other towns. You know, it's a trail is great place for exercise, for reflection, for friendship. It has all sorts of benefits, and they're self-evident. And I think everybody involved on the town side and the public, everybody sees that, but we really just need to make it happen. It's time. So that's my feeling.
Ms. Cardoso?
Hi, I'm Jenny Cardoso, and I live at 8 Aspetuck Avenue. I'm newer to town. I've been here for 2.5 years, but I'm familiar with New Milford for many years because my brother and my sister both live here. And I'm speaking as a user of the trail, or a would-be user. I'm a runner and a walker, a dog owner, and someone who loves to shop locally. I've been loving all the beautiful trails in the area: Steep Rock, Macrocostas, Battle Swamp, and Sega Meadows. I like to walk to the river in New Milford from my house and do the short loop with my dog or my sister. I'm glad for some of the changes I've seen that make the walk safer and more accommodating for walkers. There's the crosswalk by Patriots Way and the new trash receptacle at the far end of the parking lot. As a runner, though, I do wish there were a way to run for a distance from town. I tend to get in my car and drive elsewhere to find a safe and continuous route to run. Extending the river trail would provide that missing link from town to Sega Meadows or across the river toward Brookfield. I meet a runners group in Roxbury weekly, year-round. We plot a route along the quieter roads or trails, starting and finishing at Roxbury Market. When we get back, about 10 of us will stop in at the market for coffee and breakfast every week. And that's one group. It's a multi-generational group, very dedicated to running and running safely. It makes me think about the possibilities for New Milford and for the restaurants and shops along Bank Street and Railroad Street if there were a trail that drew runners and bikers to town from here and elsewhere. Certainly, the added pedestrian traffic could provide a boon to their bottom lines and perhaps even lead to a more robust shopping district generally. Just this week I heard about, there used to be a bike shop in town, there used to be a running store in town. Whether our economy could support that today, we don't know, but those are fabulous additions, I think. Since I moved here in 2021, I have been dismayed to see so many empty storefronts. Several shops having remained closed and empty in prime real estate for the entire time I've been here. Could a positive development like the River Trail, bringing people and business to New Milford, make a difference? I've seen it happen elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have someone speaks for the troop, Oliver.
Hello, Town Council. I am Caleb MacDonald from Troop 158 in New Milford, Connecticut.
Hello, Town Council. I'm Oliver Brandel from Troop 158.
Hello, Town Council. I'm Carter Brandel from Troop 158.
We have been volunteering with the New Milford River Trail Association to help survey the Sega Meadows Trail. While working with the association, we learned about the potential expansion of the trail. We are excited about the prospect of a longer New Milford Greenway and the connection and expansion towards Brookfield.
An established greenway will greatly enhance the safety of our pedestrians, cyclists in this community. We as Scouts feel that enhanced safety is necessary in a busy area. An expansion greenway also presents an opportunity to create a centralized area for activity, for those looking for fitness, enjoying the outdoors, and socializing with other people. We are asking the town to do what they can to support this project by applying for grants available to fund this project and move forward with the town's river trail plan.
In turn, we as Scouts look forward to doing our part to support this project. We can encourage fellow Scouters to choose Eagle Scout projects related to the trail, plan and participate events to foster community engagement, and encourage Scouts to maintain the trail during our community service hours. We thank you for your time and consideration to our request of applying for the necessary grants to support the New Milford Greenway.
Thank you.
That is it, Mr. Mayor.
Making sure. Okay. Katie?
Item number 4, consent agenda. I'd like to move to approve items 4A, prior minutes, and 4B, tax collector.
Any discussion?
Who seconded it?
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item
Any-
number 5 is
Any
our...
abstentions? No?
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Item number 5, the youth advisory.
Right.
Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. We haven't been here in a little while, so I just wanted, Maria Leo, do you need us to tell you our addresses as well?
Not for the kids, but just their names when they get up.
Okay. So I'm Maria Leo. I'm the community youth advocate at the Youth Agency, and we have the Student Advisory Board with us tonight. As a group, we meet twice a month and plan events and programs for the town of New Milford. We discuss current youth issues and interests. We volunteer throughout the community and participate in community events with other agencies in this community. These kids guide the vision of the youth agency. They're the ones that give us the input of what's important to the youth in this town, and that's what the youth agency takes and runs with. This year we actually have 20 members, which is amazing. 3 of those members represent our group at the Board of Directors meetings. That is Jasmine Baxter, Michael Carafa, and Brianna Jemison. They represent us at Board of Directors. And then we also have members that want to represent us here at Town Council once a month, and that's Angelina Rusile, Jasmine's going to help out too, and Alex Wilk. And Michael's going to be joining us too. So I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about what we're working on. We won't take up much of your time, but we just kind of wanted to give an update of what we're working on.
So we helped start the Circle of Friends along with the Letters to Pat Club at New Milford High School. Once a month, we all load up on a bus and head over to the senior centers with a variety of board games. There's about 10 to 12 students participating in this. The senior center is currently trying to recruit more seniors to play games with us, so if you know anyone that would be interested, send them over for the first Monday of every
You can
single
hold
month.
just 1 second. Those that are on the call, can you please mute? Because we can hear the feedback. Thank you.
So if you know anyone that would be interested, send them over on the first Monday of every month to the senior center.
Great job. Thank you.
I'm Alex Wilk. Some of our student advisory board members are participating in the Buddy Up program. This free mentoring program meets weekly at John Pettibone Community Center for an hour. High school students are matched with students in grades 3 through 8 based on interest and needs. Although we are still offering academic help, we are trying to concentrate on positive peer relationships during a time where youth are struggling with connection. Currently, we have 6 active pairs and a handful of mentors available and waiting for a match. Additionally, because New Milford continues to become more and more diverse, we are working to reach more families by translating our flyers into Spanish and Portuguese. So far, we have the Youth Agency Pre-K Club flyer and Buddy Up mentoring flyers translated. The next flyer will be the Safe Place so we can reach more families of neurodivergent children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Baxter. And on the same note, in terms of being more inclusive with our new cultures, we are currently in the process of planning a multicultural fair for the town. Our goal is to hold this in May or early June we switched the date to June 1st, we have a date now, at John Pettibone Community Center. We have discussed the theme of universal languages such as art, dance, music, and food. And that allows us to transcend the domain of language barriers and allow us to connect as a community. There are subcommittees at school, which I lead. We have a Google form that we have sent out, and we have gathered intel from our fellow high school students. And we're getting information on what people think culture is and how we can better help connect ourselves as a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Can I have their comments? Are they all written?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think you guys did an absolutely phenomenal job.
Can I just ask,
Katie?
what was your first name? Yeah, you talked about the circle of-
Angelina.
And I'm sorry, but when you were talking, we had our people feedback here. It's a circle of friends?
Circle of friends, yes.
Okay, thanks, Angelina.
Excellent, great job. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you.
Can't wait to
We'll
see you next month.
Okay, we have appointments and
Right.
reappointments.
Item
Katie?
number 6, we'll start with the reappointments. And we have quite a few this evening, so I'll do a few, and if anybody wants to individualize, you can let me know. So I'd like to move that we approve the following reappointments. The 9/11 Committee, that would be from February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, and that would include Dan Sullivan, Walter Bayer, Patrick McGuire, and Tammy Reardon.
So moved.
Well, Katie did, are you seconding it? Are you? Okay, all right, that's good.
We vote on these now individually?
I'd like to continue, but
Okay.
we'll have that, okay. The Alarm Appeals Board, their term February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, and reappointing is Paul Murphy. Arts Commission, that term also February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. And the reappointments are Rachel McCord, Ali Somas, Maureen Henriquez, Betty Lou Mandler, Carolyn Hyde, Ellen Newman, and Ellen Reynolds. Then we have Candlewood Lake Authority, a term again, February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. And we'd be reappointing Joseph Wodarski Jr. and Steve Kludge. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that we have done. I'll stop there. Bob, would you like to second all of those?
Yes, I will.
All right.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay. We'll move along to reappointments to the Conservation Commission, which again, now this is a little different. Lynn Webster's term, February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. And Lenny Lillis, her term is December 1st of 2023 through January 31st of 2027.
Keep going,
I'm happy to keep going. We'll move along to the reappointments on the Economic Development Commission. Again, we have 4 with terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, which would be Frank Wargo, Chris Gardner, Nancy Sagis, and Arthur Whiteway. Kevin Cox, his term would be December 1st of 2023 through January 31st, 2027. Moving on to the Ethics Commission, reappointment to terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028 would be Chris Kratchner, Vincent Delaney, and Austin Shackelford as an alternate. Oh. Moving on to Farmland and Forest Preservation, term to be February 1st, 2024, January 31st, 2028, reappointing Suzanne Von Holt, Steve Kleppen, and Jeremy Schultz. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have second? Thank you, Alex.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to move to reappoint for the Film Commission, term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, Valerie Lorimer. Historic Properties Commission, move to reappoint Michael Anderson for a term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. Move on Housatonic Area Regional Transit, move to add Tom O'Brien as a reappointment, February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. And the Housatonic River Commission, reappointment of Bob Gambino, February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. We'll move to the next one, the Housing Code Enforcement Committee. Reappointment of Chris Gardner, term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have-
Second.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank
Okay.
you.
Now we have reappointment, moving for the, pardon?
Is Doug on the phone?
I don't know.
Doug, you're on the phone?
Yes, Doug is on the
Yep.
phone.
Did you want to ask him something?
I just thought he was there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Move to reappoint for Housing Partnership with terms from February 1st, 2024 through January 31st of 2026. That would be Pete Bass, Walter Bayer, Bob Rush, Laura Reagan, Ivana Butera, Chris Ludwig, Joe Baker, and Marissa Levine. Then we have reappointment on the Inland Wetlands Commission Aquifer Protection. Terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, and that would be Adriana Riccio, Angela Dimmitt as an alternate, Kathleen Nelson, and Scott Letty. The Lanesville Fire Substation moved to reappoint for term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st of 2028. Frederick Aldrich and Bruce Taylor. You guys want to say something on the phone? No? Okay. Move for the reappointment on the Library Board of Trustees, term February 1st, 2024, January 31st, 2028, Joanne Lillis and Jack Oxton. Moving for the Municipal Building Committee, a term February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, Chris Gardner, Mel McBriarty, and John Rosa. Municipal Citation Hearing Officer, move Walter Bayer for a term of February 1st, 2022 to January 31st of 2024. Let me just mark that off. How about that? We do those.
Is there a second? Second.
Any
Alex, okay?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving forward, Municipal Roads Committee, I move for reappointment of Ellen Conklin and Geraldine Lukovitz for terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. Move for Parks and Rec, the appointment of Tom Beecher, term of from February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. Move to reappoint on the Pension Committee, Thomas Pilla, for a term of February 1st through January 31st of 2028. Riverfront Revitalization Committee. Move the following for terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st of 2026. Diane Clafe, Richard Schipple, Lucy Wildrick, Frank Wargo, and John Rosa as an alternate. Do I have a second on those?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Any abstentions? Thank you.
Moving forward, reappointment to the Sewer Commission for terms February 1st, 2024, January 31st, 2028. Alexander Karp, John Whitman. Reappointment on Traffic Authority, same term, February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028. Tyler Bergman and Scott Marco. Reappointment on the Youth Agency, February 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2028, Patricia Hembrook and Molly Ledden. Zoning Commission, a reappointment of Patricia Bogie and Robert DeMichelle, both alternates, terms of February 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2028. And the Zoning Board of Appeals, reappointment of James Corbett as an alternate for a term of February 1st of this year, 2024, January 31st, 2028. Do I have a second?
Any discussion?
Who was that, Tom?
Paul.
Paul.
Oh, Paul.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay, the following now are appointments, not reappointments. We'll start with the Arts, Commission on the Arts. There'll be an appointment from February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2026, and this would be McAdory Lipscomb Jr., filling the vacancy of Joanne Lillis, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your first name. Appointment to Parks and Rec, term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, Paul Manfredi. Appointment to the Film Commission, terms of February 1st, 2024, January 31st, 2028, would be Gregory Schmidt, Lynn Priest, and Sherry Gunn as an alternate. Also now appointing to the Library Board of Trustees for a term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028, Kathy Highland and Katie Francis as an alternate. The Traffic Authority. Oh, sure.
On the Traffic Authority, is that our Greg Valero, our Personnel Director? So I don't understand why we would put the Personnel Director on a
He
board.
wants to do
Well,
it.
I know there's probably nothing in that charter that says he can't, but I just don't think it's a good look. I don't know. It's my personal opinion. I mean, I love Greg. I think he's wonderful, but I just don't think he should be sitting on a board. I mean, if an issue comes up, he obviously would have to recuse himself, but still, why even put yourself in that position?
Why would he
why can't you find somebody else?
May I ask our town attorney, would
No.
an employee?
Not an incompatible office.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know it's nothing, there's nothing in the charter, but I just don't think it's a good look. I don't know. It's my personal opinion.
Sure.
I wouldn't do it, but,
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me move
So-
and add that to the ones I already did. The Traffic Authority term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st, 2028 of Gregory Valero. And we have the Housing Partnership, move to appoint James Delancey to February 1st, 2024, January 31st, 2026.
And he's filling the veterans.
Right, the veteran slot.
Yep.
Okay, and then finally, move to appoint to the Fair Rent Commission for a term of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st of 2027, Thomas Pilla and Robert Capola. The same Fair Rent Commission for a term of February 1st to January 31st, 2026 would be Jana Larkin and Frank Wargo. On the same Fair Rent Commission for terms of February 1st, 2024 through January 31st of 2025, we would be appointing Chris Ludwig and James Delancey as an alternate.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So I'm in favor of everything except for Greg being on note my abstention for Greg Valero as Traffic Authority.
abstaining for the traffic authority, everything else you're approving.
I'm approving everything else, but abstaining on the Greg's. Nothing.
And there'll be a
Thank you.
test afterwards, to see who remembers who's going on what commission.
All right. Thank you, Katie. Next
Mayor's
is,
comments.
Mayor's comments. So first, we'll start with a couple things that were brought forward tonight. First is the grant for the River Trail. I spoke with Lisa. We spoke, I believe, over the weekend or maybe Friday, concerning we are going to be applying for the grant, and that will be for the southern portion, the connector piece of Brookfield and New Milford. So we'll be working on that. I would like to put into the minutes was there were some people that conjectured that we haven't done anything with the riverfront or with the river trail. I 1000% disagree with that. And let me tell you why. When I took office, there was a river trail. It started from Youngsfield Road to the end of Public Works. That was your river trail. Okay? So since I've been here, let me tell you what we've done. We'll start with Native Meadows. And Jack's back there and he can talk about it. We put a stone dust, right? Jack, we put a stone dust part from the meadow trail that connects to the sidewalks that go over Veterans Bridge that connect to the river trail that started. Wow. Voila. That's part of the whole plan. Then what we did was, when you're at the Public Works, right, we turned up the river trail, up Patriots Way. It's beautiful up there. We took parking, we cleaned it all up. We've got now some pollinator gardens up in there. And the whole premise that I've heard some people talk about tonight is the synergy. How you bring the riverfront to the downtown to create jobs, to create the synergies of economic development. We actually did that. We turned that Riverwalk up into the downtown. As a matter of fact, I walked with Lucy, and we did Lucy's Loop, a mile. A mile. And then if you decide to go even more up into the downtown, which then goes to your stores, to the movie theater, to our wonderful restaurants, and you come all the way up here to Town Hall, and you swing around, and you go all the way down past the tennis courts and go back around, that's 1.5 miles. Loop. Jack, what else did we do? Oh, you know what else we did? Sega Meadows. Sega Meadows. What a beautiful park. And what we did, talking with Dan Calhoun, the Park and Rec Commission, we're like, hey, there's a wonderful fire trail there. Why don't we make that part of the river trail? And put stone dust down there. Remember that, Dan? You and your guys did a great job. It goes all the way through Sega Meadows into River Road. And here's the great thing. For the people that love to bike, and the people that love to run, and the people that love the river, wow, you've got another 1.5 miles that's inside Sega Meadows. And then, what is it, Jack? 5 miles? 5 miles going north up River Road as part of our river walk. So ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of stuff to still do on there, but I say that we've done almost 8 miles. 8 miles of a river walk we've done since we've been here. We've got more to do, but I want that in the minutes. 8 miles. We got more to do, right, Jack? And we're going to do more.
Yeah, we're going to do more.
I've also spoke to Mayor Furman. Riverfront revitalization. A lot of this riverfront actually dovetails into riverfront revitalization and her committee. So we're all going to get together. We're all going to figure out a way to continue on this mission of building a wonderful, walkable town. And bikes as well.
And
Okay.
runners. We did the 9/11 monument, I mean, part of that, up on Patriots Way, we relocated the monument, 9/11 monument, and I think, I don't know if anybody's noticed.
Beautiful.
We located a Freedom Angel right near there also, which was donated, I believe donated to the town. So we've added that to try to, as you go up through Patriots Way, there's, you know, picnic, there's tables, well, not picnic tables, but there's places to sit, and there's gardens going on. We've removed all the boxes,
And not to take Mayor Furman's thunder away, I apologize. I'm going to do like a little sneak peek thing too. Another thing we're looking to too is we're moving some of the things off of the DPW facility. And by the way, for those that say we're going too fast with that or whatever, the public's going to decide the cost and the true move of public works. But we can do stuff like move our pipe yard and move our sand and salt barn, which we're going to be doing, because that we can do internally. But once we free that pipe yard, for those that don't know where that is right where, you know, where the recycling center is, and then you've got the old ambulance barn where our facilities is, and then you have the road, and then you have our pipe yard. Amazing, the Aspetuck, right, Mayor Gambino, the Aspetuck River goes right through there and connects the Housatonic River. So the goal of this is, we're gonna make that a park too.
Yep.
And connect it. Have a nice canoe port there, kayak, so you got a lot of wonderful things. So we are gonna be doing things.
Yep.
And with everybody's help, we're gonna do it even more. But I think that's great. Next. So today was brought up about the New Milford roof, high school roof, and how we haven't alert the public. I 1,000% disagree with that too. Mike, you should know, because on September 11th, you can check the minutes, you were actually here at public participation. And in my mayor's comments, I talked about the New Milford High School roof. And here's the wonderful thing. What I said was the bonding company that's taken over the job, right, is going to pay for it. And that contractually, they need to put 2 screws in there. Am I right, Randy? And we're going to hold them up to it.
Yeah,
Right. And what gets even better, not only did I say that, but you go to the Municipal Building Committee, and every single month we talk about it. As a matter of fact, Hillary was there at the last one. We talk about it every single month. So we do talk about it. The Board of Education talks about it too. They talk about the roof at, guess where, at their meetings. They get 2. Facilities, they talk about it. And then they talk about it at their regular meeting. So I think we continue to talk about it. For those that are interested, you can see that absolutely. And again, for those that are watching tonight and those that are here in the audience, we are going to hold those people accountable. We're taking the bond company, we've told them contractually 2 screws. And that's what you're going to put in there, 2 screws. Am I right, Jack? Because you've been talking with them all the time.
Our position all along that they will require them to go back and look at 2 screws. So, and we are meeting with the bonding company for the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Jack. Now, next is some pretty cool stuff, right? We're in the midst of budget, municipal budget. And how does that work for the public? So, we've got 2 rails, because with our charter change a few years ago, there are 2 really independent budgets. There's the town budget, and there's a Board of Education budget. So we'll start with the education budget. I saw you there a couple times, Alex. I think I've seen you there once, and I saw Hillary as well. So, Paul. And so, right now, they're in the midst of doing theirs. The superintendent brought her budget forward for the Board of Education, and now they're some of their administrators, and then they'll make their decisions and make their adjustments. Then it will come over to the town. Right now, we're currently, Greg and I, talking to all the department heads, assessing the needs, and then what happens is, we then, in February, have joint meetings of the town council and the Board of Finance. Walter's back there, he knows, he's the chairman, right? And so, I bring forward the mayor's budget to the town council and the Board of Finance. We go through listening from the departments and their needs, and then if the council decides to make some adjustments to the budget, they do so. And then it goes to the Board of Finance and Walter's group, and then they look at it, and then they make any adjustments. Then it goes to you, the public, and you decide. So that's kind of where we are so far in the budget process right now, where the Board of Education is and where the town is. And please stay tuned. We've pushed out already when the meetings are going to be, so that you can come or watch on the TV, the departments, and the town budget and the process, how it goes so far. Want to congratulate our wrestling team. Did a great job. Our girls' dance team, the high school, good job, doing great work. Seen a lot of new banners up at the high school with the new ceiling and the new walls that were just painted. They're going to be doing the floors. I talked to Matt Cunningham. I did speak a little bit real quick. I toured the schools with Superintendent Parlato and Matt Cunningham. We looked at some of the needs for the buildings, and I'll be talking a little bit more of that as we come through budget, and holistically in talking with the superintendent, Matt Cunningham as well, and Jack Healy is coming out with a true capital plan that encompasses the whole town, all the town's buildings, all the town's requirements, all the town's assets. Be the first time. And that's to actually do the smart thing, the business way to do it. Mary Jane, I'll stop. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
In talking about the trail and everything, what are your plans about a Greenway committee?
I think it's a great thing, but what I'd like to do is I talk to Lisa. I'd like to talk to Mayor Furman and the Riverfront Revitalization Committee, get all those inputs, and then bring in, before we open these up, bring in SLR, which was a Malone member before, bring them in, the Army Corps of Engineers. Jack will be involved as well, and we look at the river, because the river has changed since we did this engineering design. With the massive amounts of water that we're getting now because of climate change, right? We're getting these downpours that are 3, 4, 5, 6 inches within a couple of hours. We're getting, as you can see, we're getting flooding way more than we did before. So we need to be cognizant of that flooding, especially in some of the areas where there's going to be a river trail. Is that now safe?
But I would think, having the committee put together would be, would be
Well,
helpful.
I would think before you went to the committee, you'd have all this background for them so they could make those decisions rather than wasting their time.
I don't know that it would be a waste of time.
Well, you'd
but-
sit there and say, okay, well, I think this is a great idea. Then all of a sudden we get here and then all of a sudden, oh, well, I forgot. This thing floods now.
That's right.
So I think if we do kind of our prep work first, I think that's a great opportunity.
all these-
And
put
everybody
these
can
people together.
participate and get involved.
Put
I think
these
it's
people
great.
together on a committee and.
I think it's great. I think it's a good opportunity.
I think you should go ahead and do it.
Okay. All right. Next. Okay. So, I'll stop there for right now.
All right.
All right. I was pontificating too
Okay,
much.
So the first thing I'm going to say is that, just for anybody at home who's reading along with us, the numbering on our agenda is off. So instead of just being at number 5 again, that was number 7. Now we're going to move to number 8. And this would be the discussion and possible action on approving the 2024 Parks and Rec,
Number 6.
No, it's number 8.
but it's number 8 because of all the ones in the front.
I got what you're saying.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, this is the 2024
You're right, Mayor.
Parks and Rec fee schedule. I'll make the motion, then you guys can come and talk about it. I'd like to move that we approve the 2024 Parks and Rec fee schedule. Who's up?
Second.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Dan and Alfred. So we know Dan Calhoun's our Director of Park and Rec.
I think so.
And Alfred Esposito is our Chairman of the Park and Rec Commission. Gentlemen?
Anybody have any questions? We really pretty much left it as close to last year as we possibly could, with the exception of boat slips went up a little. We feel it's commensurate with all the area towns' fees, and certainly far cheaper than commercial marinas. And other than
Alfred,
that, we tried to keep all the fees.
Alfred, just kind of stay on the boat slips. Do
Yep.
we sell out?
We sell out every year, high demand.
We have a wait list right now.
And can I just quick, I don't see the non-resident boat slip.
There is no non-resident.
It's only for residents.
Oh, that's good. I think you told us that last year. Thanks.
And for
That's
those-
because so many people from
Want 'em.
town want them.
Yeah, we have a wait list of residents.
And
Wonderful.
Alfred and Dan, for those who may be watching or here before, I've had residents come in and say, can you build more boat slips? And the answer would be,
We're limited based on,
DEP and First Light.
yes,
But we're discussing with First Light now, because in our long-range capital plan, these docks are how old now?
over probably about 25 years old.
They're going to need to be replaced and repaired. So we're already starting to discuss with First Light, who is the first step of making them all unified in size. So when these were built years ago, we have varying sizes according to A, B, or C dock. We'd like to see all 83 uniform size. That would take into consideration, the boats are much larger than they were 25 years ago. So we are trying, but it's an arduous process. To get those docks 25 years ago, it took years of First Light and DEEP back and forth just to get permission to do it. But we're underway.
Katie?
Since I'm mentioning these things, I'm very happy to see that the senior vehicle sticker price has stayed at 20, and I'm going to assume that anybody who feels that that's beyond their means, they can just go right down to, go to senior center or go down to your office, right, Dan?
Correct, yes. I've
Okay.
already spoken
And it
to
would
the
be
senior
waived.
center, and they said they have a
Right.
set in place how they can
So
fund
no
that.
argument, just say I can't, and that's that. Good to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second.
I'm going to, because I don't know the people at home could see this, it is very small print, Dan, by the way, that you also have the veteran stickers. You've not raised that price.
Right.
That is fantastic. And I think that you've really done a good job of maintaining the cost on, the permits and things for everybody, the pedal boats and the things that the town residents like. Those
Katie,
pedal boats?
we went
good?
over this arduously because we realized the economy and the families
Good.
could not, where we had to move, we did with the boats, but couldn't and shouldn't have to endure a raise in these, amenities or
Well,
features in the park, if
you
we
did a
could help
great
it. So
job.
we kept it
And-
as solid as we could.
Are the pedal boats really popular?
Once in a
Can't
while,
say.
yeah, the kayak, we have a kayak rental too, people like to rent those
I've
also.
heard people say about kayaks, but are the pedal boats, they're the little...
Once in a while they
Yeah?
do, but they like the kayaks better.
I see.
They can move much quicker.
Well, thank you. From my point of view, this is great. You didn't raise them up too much.
And Dan, real quick, speaking of the kayaks, through the use of funding, we now have how many kayaks at the town
We
now
have
has?
36 kayak rental spots that people can rent those spots and leave their kayaks there for the whole season.
But I mean, we actually have kayaks now.
Yes.
Park and Rec
Yes.
has.
Oh, yes, we also
That'll
have-
allow you now to expand your programs.
Yes, we have kayaks that we can rent out, and we have kayaks that we can actually teach lessons with now.
Awesome. Any other question?
Great job.
I'd like to just make a comment, this is Chris, that I'd like to thank the Park and Rec Committee. I think these fees are very reasonable. I think, and certainly the Park and Rec employees who maintain our parks all year round, you all do a great job. So appreciate everything you do, and I'm certainly in favor of this fee schedule.
Okay. We have a,
As am I.
We have a
Okay.
move and second.
we got Tom saying that as well. Doug, you have anything?
No, great job, guys. Thank you for everything you do. I know that the town and the parks are growing more and more, and we're adding more parks. And I know it's a way on Dan and Park and Rec, and they do a great job. So thank you both.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Nice to see you, Alfred.
Thank you.
Item number 9, grant compliance. I'd like to move that we accept the resolution for the Connecticut Community Foundation Pathways for Older Adults grant. This is for the senior center. They've awarded $1,000 for older adults to support an open house during the National Older Americans Month to showcase their programs and services for those over 60 to the community at large. So that's many of us here tonight. We can
So
take advantage of this.
We have a and a second?
Who was that?
Second.
Tom?
Okay.
We're almost there.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
And do I need to read the
Thank you.
resolution? I will, it's just
Yep.
quick. The resolution herewith, accept a $1,000 Pathways for Older Adults grant from the Connecticut Community Foundation to support a community open house during National Older Americans Month, which I didn't even know they had. I had,
Right.
don't know, they don't tell me. We're not
Next
allowed
is,
to know.
Brian,
Okay.
come on up, sir.
Tax assessor, item number 10. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $35,000 be moved from the contingency to the tax refunds. There you are. Hi, Brian.
Brian, do we have a second? Chris seconded it.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Brian Lastra, tax assessor for the town of New Milford. I'm here tonight requesting $35,000 from contingency to be moved to the tax refund account. If you notice on your agenda tonight, you're approving refunds that leave a balance of $9,259. And right now, I have a refund application from a leasing company, a company that leases motor vehicles to property owners here in New Milford. And I have a refund of about $10,000 to that one company waiting. So in essence, I'm already out of money.
And Brian, for those that may be watching, the reason for really the larger amounts that are coming through is because of motor vehicles depreciating.
Yeah, the motor vehicle values, 2 years ago, they were up 25% due to COVID. So the motor vehicle assessments are higher today. And obviously, it generates more tax revenue, but when you're in a situation where you have to refund money because the vehicles are sold, that's why our budget for the refunds has gone up. So the good news is we're you know, with this grand list coming up, we're starting to see a retreat of motor vehicle values. And so the good news is for taxpayers that own cars and pay car taxes, they'll probably see a little relief in their assessment this year.
Now, budgetary-wise, we need to be cognizant because that's going to be a revenue decline.
Right. Yeah.
Which will affect our mill rate. Okay. So we have a motion and a second for $35,000 coming from contingency, which is okay with our finance director? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Brian. Item number 11, Sullivan Farm. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the proposed educational facility at Sullivan Farm.
Mark?
Thank you, Paul.
And Mark has a presentation for the council and the public. And Kellen. What's happening?
Kellen, yep.
Since the last time we met, we spent the last couple of months putting together, working with the architect and the engineer, proposal for a multi-functional post and beam barn building at Sullivan Farm. This is a quick model. You can just run right through there and pass it around. It's as light as a marshmallow, so
Yeah, I see.
if you want to grab it, you can.
Kellen, if you put it here, the camera would be able to see it so the people at home can see the beauty of this.
As we discussed last time, the building would function in three ways. First of all, it would allow us to move the farm stand from its current location. The biggest complaint we have is that it's really dangerous coming in and out of there off of 202. Secondly, it would afford us 12 months of classroom space. It would allow us to double the number of individuals that are going through the program up there. This past year we had over 1,000 students, and I think we mentioned the fact that it runs through from elementary through college. Sacred Heart University was sending classes up to us. We hope to push that up to about 2,000 this year. Also, we would expand the number of weekend activities, and then finally it would have a kitchen. The kitchen would allow us not only to produce product for the farm stand, but we'd utilize it in conjunction with the garden, bringing classes in, going out, picking vegetables, bringing them in and teaching them basically how to do that. I think I also mentioned last time that the regulations that the state is putting into place now on a lot of the product production is becoming more and more restrictive. So what you could do in your kitchen in the old days, you can't any longer. As an example, when we fill containers with maple syrup, we can't do it in the sugar house anymore. It's got to be done in a licensed kitchen. This would give us the ability to do that right at the farm, but it also would allow us to rent out the kitchen to farmers who want to do jams, who want to do jellies. You have too much corn left over, you can blanch it, freeze it. It would allow them to expand their production area dramatically. Taking a page from Mr. Esposito, who basically mentioned that we wanted to try to keep the breakdown
Tom, you're still on, right?
under, I hate to do this, but this is basically the proposal. It breaks down the costs we've met once the plans were done with the various contractors who are willing, at no cost, to give us some basic ideas. Would you like one?
Certainly, sir. Thank you.
Great job.
We're looking for $625,000.
Come on, reach.
Which would come out of the waste management fund. The nice part about it is that after the second year, we feel with the increase in the available revenue sources, that we can start putting them back into waste management surplus.
And Mark, as everyone's looking at this, they may have some questions concerning the cost and the cost breakdown. what I think is great for the town council is we have not touched, right, Greg? How many years have we not touched waste management now?
Several, at least. I don't know if we touched it since you've been, I'm not certain.
And here's the great news. That thing's earning interest. And let me tell you, the interest that we've accrued, because we haven't touched it yet, is more than $625,000. Bingo! Bingo!
There you go. You got a
Use an
smile.
interest building. Right, Mike? Good use.
This is a great estimate, Mark.
625.
It sounds cheap.
Mary
to
Jane.
me.
Mike?
It doesn't sound like 625. I
Mark?
would say this is going to go over 625, but I think it's a good project.
Thank you.
And I would support it. I support using the waste management, which is basically designated for education.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is definitely an education.
Katie?
And a very important part of kids' education. So I would definitely support this. But I think this is kind of a cheap estimate. I mean, just knowing what building costs, it sounds like it's going to be run more than that. So.
Well, take it out of
We'll
your
have to
pay,
see.
Mark.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So-
I'd be more than happy to donate my entire salary.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
Which is
I have a
what,
question.
nothing?
I see that you've, deducted for the septic, et cetera. You gonna hook into the town?
No.
You're not?
Unfortunately, it stops at
Sewer.
the medical
Yeah,
center.
I know.
The cost of driving that thing up the road would
Okay,
be
so.
astronomical.
All right, so you put in a system, that's good. And the, well, still good?
We're gonna go right to the road. The water lines go straight up to
Good.
Scotticook, so we're gonna tie into town water.
Good, good. Great job. I'm really impressed with the pricing.
We've been lucky, the local contractors have been really good.
Yes.
Department heads here have been fantastic in helping out with this thing, so.
Any, oops, I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's okay. Just for historical perspective, I know that Mr. Mankin has done a fantastic job since he first took over the youth agency many years ago. I always like to tell people he was a student, not of mine, but in Housatonic Valley. When I was teaching, I was always impressed, and he's impressed me every time I've met him with his fantastic ideas that do come to fruition. So, Mark, keep it up.
Thank you.
Any, yes.
Pete, I had
Yep.
a question. So, first of all, I really appreciate the public-private partnership aspect of this whole thing where farmers could come in and rent them, and I think that's tremendous, and I like the plan. Just wondering what we anticipate if we move forward with this, what, if any, impact this additional buildings and that might have to the annual budget. Would it be anything significant?
Mark?
I don't think so. We basically do our own maintenance, our own repair up there. You're gonna have an increase, obviously, in electricity, but we're talking about solar, putting it up on both the buildings, which would cut that cost dramatically. And it will raise enough revenue so that, the normal expenses that are involved in a project like that are taken care of. The town covers the insurance. There aren't a lot of extras that are going to have to go into the building. Obviously, as time goes on, when we're all gone, it's going to need, some TLC as you get into the 20-year mark. But initially, no.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Excellent.
Just one quick question.
Katie?
Mr. Mayor?
Who made that? Kellen, did you make that?
That was done actually by one of our alumni. I don't know if you guys saw the U.S. Postal advertisement for the holidays.
Right.
He did that.
Did that, okay.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say who?
His name is Corin Harspot.
Corin.
Corin,
Yeah,
yes.
well, congratulations, Corin, because that is a
Yeah,
fantastic
it's pretty
model.
detailed.
Yes, very.
Tom?
Yes, I just wanted to say I'm in favor of this. I really like what you've done here, Mark. I think the revenue that will come out of this building, as you intimated of making these kitchens available to some of the farmers. I remember having this conversation with the mayor almost 18 years ago at Economic Development with farmland preservation, and how important it is for some of these farmers to, have the ability to bring their products to the market, as has been evident to Kimberly and many of the other farms, but to make this available to other small farmers, I think is going to be a really big benefit for helping them maybe take the next steps into more of a finished product from coming off of their farms and increasing their revenue. I really think it's also going to be a great attractor to people, to the property. I think this is a fantastic use of waste, waste management money. I fully support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other comments?
Mayor?
Yes.
Dr. Kelly?
Dougie?
So I'm also in favor of this, and me, I'm a numbers guy, and town council knows I love when money makes money, and we're not taking anything out of the principal. And I know that, I think the number was over $1 million we made in interest in this waste management money, and I know that we've been prudent as a town not to touch it over the last few years, to use it to offset costs to the taxpayer and still keep in check with our budget and not increasing our mill rate. And I think this is a win-win. I think, when you have money sitting there, and I know Greg has done a great job with investing the money and making sure that we're making the best money we can out of it. And I think this is a win-win. Like the mayor said, this is free money, but it's going to a good cause. And this money will generate more money. So it's a win-win. So I applaud Greg for investing money in a good fund, and I applaud Mark for doing what he's doing for these years. It seems like he's been around forever, the poor guy.
He has.
Been around, but he's been a great asset to the town, so I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Dorian Gray.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mark.
Okay.
We'll see you. We see you on Wednesday, right, Walter? We see you on Wednesday, right?
Walter. Okay, item number 12 would be an update from our finance director, Greg Ospow.
Good evening, everyone. This is the December financial update. The audit presentation will take place this Wednesday right here in the E. Paul Martin Room at 7 p.m. You should have all received an electronic version of the final audit. Hard copies will be distributed at the meeting. As the mayor mentioned earlier, the mayor and I are working on the mayor's recommended budget. All department requests have been submitted. The mayor will present his budget next month. Expenditures. Expenditures on a cash basis are running at 53% of budget. On a straight line basis, they would be expected to be running at 50%. Salaries are running mostly at the straight line trend of 50% as expected. Other than tax rebates and refunds and public works overtime, I see no other issues with expenditures at this point in time. Revenues. Revenues on a cash basis are running at 60.7% of budget. Taxes are running at 65.9% of budget, with current tax collections also running at 65.9% of budget. Most revenues are running at or above the straight line average, with the with the exception of aging and parks, primarily due to the seasonality of those revenues. In conclusion, on a cash basis, expenditures are at $56,135,429.37, and revenues are at $69,627,712.44, leaving a positive cash flow of $13,492,283.07.
Any questions for Greg? Alex?
Last time we talked about the possibility of revenue from the state for tickets, for infractions. I know, because
So-
it would have come to the municipality.
Yep, so great question. I spoke to Chief Ceruto today, and he let me know that in the breakouts that is done, we have the possibility, and this is if they actually collect the ticket, because sometimes they go and the judge says,
Yeah.
I'm gonna deny your ticket or make it whatever.
Right.
The differential is about $20 per ticket that's actually collected. And Greg, have we received any funding on the differential, about $20 for tickets that are issued?
We receive that quarterly.
You know how much that is about approximately?
No, it varies, depends on volume and, whatever, tickets they
Can you-
issue.
Greg, could you do me a favor for Alex? I don't want to talk for you, because I apologize. Can you get us like the last 3 quarters and just send it to the council?
I'm right now, we just booked that into, unassigned revenue, so I'll pull something together.
Just so we know what that is.
So on the books, it's in unassigned revenues?
It's in the unassigned revenue, correct.
I'd like to know what else is in unassigned revenues.
Greg? What's in unassigned revenues?
Anything that's not earmarked in the budget, for instance, those revenues. It's not a large amount of revenue from ticket issuance. And when we get money from Karma, when they do their distribution, they do it once a year. I put money in unassigned revenues. It could be a multitude of things. I don't have, exact specifics because they're one-time revenues usually.
It would be nice to know how
Sure.
much it is, and
We'll absolutely get that for you. Absolutely. Awesome.
sounds like a little stash of money, I don't know.
Who's that?
What's a hiccup?
Broke up.
Thought somebody said it.
Okay.
So if you could get that to the council, Greg, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Any other questions for Greg? All right. Thank you, Greg. Next is Riverfront.
Item 13, Riverfront Revitalization Committee update.
Mayor?
Okay, bear with me. That's not it. Are you doing okay? Oh, I was on the wrong one. Thank you. Good evening, members of the Town Council, Mayor,
Mayor?
the public. My name is Liba Furman. For the record, I'm Chairman of the Riverfront Revitalization Committee. With me this evening are several members of my committee, Lucy Wildrick and Diane Clafe are both here as well. So I just wanted we wanted to take this opportunity to update the council on what we've been doing and what we hope to start accomplishing in this 2004 year. For those of you who have not seen our presentations, I always start with this slide just to remind everybody what the charter is for the Riverfront Committee when first formed. And it was to create a dynamic 21st century riverfront that we will integrate into the town center. And hopefully we will be catalyzing community development, economic resiliency, sustainability, and revenue generation, all the time protecting the Housatonic River and its ecosystem. It's a long-range plan for the future of New Milford, and we've been at work since 2016 on this plan. It's a transformational plan. It has thematic goals with actionable strategies. The first is sustainability. The second is keeping this as a recreational area, making it walkable, and integrating arts and culture into the plan. And then leveraging our riverfront brownfields leads to the riverfront revitalization. This is the concept plan that this town council adopted on June 28th, 2021. It is, like I said, concept, so it's not to scale, it's not to elevation, but it has the elements that we've been working with, and I'll go through those as we go on to the next maps. Improvements made, and the mayor referred to some of these already. The River Walk, or AKA Lucy's Loop, that you can now walk from the mayor's office all the way down to the river along Patriots Way, along the river, come up Bridge Street, and it's, what, a 1.5 mile loop. Native Meadows is now in town hands, and working with the Public Works Department, we now have an entranceway on the corner of Route 7 and Bridge Street, and the Public Works Department has been maintaining the parking lot, maintaining the front area, working to keep down the invasives. That is it, mudboard, I think it is, that's trying to take over all of Connecticut, but especially in this field. And Jack, is Public Works maintaining the trails, or is Park and Rec still doing that, or Youth Agency?
The Youth Agency.
Youth Agency. So, you know, the whole town gets involved in all of these projects. The Patriots Way parking lot is just looking gorgeous. This 911 memorial was put in and is really a spectacular and wonderful site. And what a view from there, incredible. We've been doing gateway cleanup. The trees have been coming down, shrubs have been clearing out. The island is getting fixed up, the Route 7 island. We're now a bee city. We have pollinator gardens down on Patriots Way. We've been working with the DOT to remove graffiti from the bridge. And there's Wi-Fi now coming down and throughout the area. The concept is also being refined. So that first map that I showed you, we've been working on it first ourselves, and then working with SLR, AKA the former Malone and McBroom. And we have evaluated alternatives, and we're preparing a more comprehensive conceptual plan. In this plan, though, it does things that the concept plan didn't. It accounts for needed mitigation. As you all know, this is a flood area. It has the propensity to flood. Once we regrade the site, it won't need, it won't flood as much, but there's always water coming, so you need a place for the water to go, or else it's going to just stay where it is. So this will have some mitigation, detention ponds. We have developed 2-scale recreational and related elements, which you'll see. And we're proposing and locating future development pods or footprints for those developments. We've incorporated feasible realignment for Youngsfield Road. We worked with Public Works on sight lines so that they could design a schematic for a realignment, and we've included extending the riverfront trail to Housatonic, and possibly there's an add-on if we want all the way up until where Century Brass is. And we've also compiled a regulatory scheme, and we've looked at different funding sources, because without the funding, not too much can happen. We've coordinated with the Corporation for New Milford Economic Development. we have a subcommittee, I'm also on that corporation board. We have a subcommittee set up to assist the Riverfront Committee and the town with development projects. So they have come to several of our meetings. Those members are Ray Oniglia and Kristen Gizzi, who both have extensive development experience. So they're good people to counsel with. This is a map and how we've parceled out the properties. So I always had trouble with this little red thing. Let's see. And I'm not going to try it. So you can see Youngsfield itself is parcel 1A. That's going to remain a recreational area. There will be no apartments, no businesses, no buildings on that piece of property.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that again? Because there's some people that seem to float around the rumor again that there's going to be buildings on the green space.
No. They're absolutely not. The 1A is going to stay recreational. It will, and you'll see on the next slide what we're proposing for there. 2 is Patriots Way. 3A is along Bridge Street, and that's a connector to Native Meadows. 4 and 3B is Native Meadows. 4A is the Public Works buildings as they are, the garages and the office building. 4B is the abandoned pumps, I'll call it. There's that little sliver of property. It's 0.7 acres, but it's dead in the middle of everything. 4C is the material storage yard and the salt barn. 4D is the pipe yard. And 1B is the Helen Marks Park. So 1A and 1B are going to stay recreational areas. And it's tough to read, and so I will get everybody a map in writing, in print on it, but I will kind of walk you through. You can see at the top on Young's Field, you see a bunch of elements. They're not necessarily going to be developed in that layout. They're just kind of there to give you a sense of scale, and it's like a puzzle. These are the pieces, and now we have to figure out where we're going to put them at some point. So it includes a basketball court, it includes some pickleball courts, it includes a synthetic ice rink, so you could go ice skating in July on the river. It includes a splash pad park. It includes the playground enlarged. We will use the equipment that's already there and just expand and add on to it. It includes a concession stand, a place to rent your ice skates if you need them, bathrooms, which right now we don't have down there, and possibly an office just for someone, staff who maintains and having a presence at the park. There's also an amphitheater, and Mr. Sinhello, our technical advisor, can you get the pointer working, please? Thank you.
You want me to point at the amphitheater for you?
Thank you. Do you know where it is? Yeah, there it is. Oh, good, you can stay here with my pointer. What do I do? I just push it?
No, you're pushing the wrong button. See this red button?
Oh, okay. Red for red. Okay.
There you go.
There you don't go. Okay. Well, anyway, you saw where he pointed for the amphitheater, so that will probably have seating for about 200 people, but then you're also able to spread your blankets, bring your chairs. It will have a roof over the section where the performers are, and it will have a sound system and lighting system. All the trails that you see there will have lighting along them. It'll be, not heavy lighting, but enough lighting for safety, and so you can see where you're going at night. In the middle, between the two gray parking areas, that, where all those bushes are, that's the retention area, so that whatever water is there will flow down into that. The parking areas are there for scale, not necessarily for position, but we have about 100 spaces there to have. And then you see we have parcel 4B. I'm sorry, 4A. And then there's the storage yard is 4B and the pipe yard is 4C. So that land is available for development. We didn't put anything there because we have no preconceived notions at this point of what's going to go there. It's going to be what the public wants and what the market will bring. It could be public, it could be private, but that's still open. The Pipe Yard area is across from the Helen Marks Park. When the fields move to our new recreation center, then the work can begin on this project. But such time the softball players are still going to get to play softball, and the t-ball players will get to play t-ball. We will have a parking lot at the Helen Marks Park at the top, so that people could bring their cars and their bicycles, and they could start that way as well, going in. And trying to think what else. In the hidden Native Meadows Park, there will be a kayak ramp as well, so you could access the park from the river. You could go across the river in your kayak from one side to the other, or go up to the Boardman Bridge where there's a put-out, or go down to Addis Park. So it's a great location for kayaking as well. You see that if you follow Youngsfield Road down to 202 Bridge Street, you can see that the road goes up. It's no longer a straight line in, so we're going to relocate that part of the road. It will intersect or come into the intersection where Spring Street is, so that it's a natural place. You won't have one cut after the other. And the sight lines will work so that you'll be able to see both right and left just coming out. The advantages here are that we now have a longer queue area from when you come off the bridge, and there'll be a turning lane so that people won't have, the people turning onto the bridge can turn onto Youngsfield, and the other people continue straight down Bridge Street. So it will not solve traffic, because I don't think anything will ever solve it all, but it will help the problems on Bridge Street and coming off the bridge. And also, when you come off Youngsfield Road, there will be an extra turning lane there to be able to turn right. I'm looking at Jack Healy because we've discussed this many a time. So those are kind of the big picture items here. And Patriots Way will no longer be a throughway for trucks, because it's really only a parking lot. It's not meant to be a throughway. Right. So we will be working to keep traffic off of going through that top part there, which further makes it more of a park-like setting from the top as well. And so what's ahead in 2024? Well, here's a picture of the Pipe Yard today, and we're going to convert it, as I said, to some passive recreation area. The DPW salt shed and material storage are going to move to Century Brass. The committee is going to develop an RFP to send out for final engineering design of the riverfront plan, and we're going to return to the town council, because you're the boss. We're going to come back to the town council for authorization to retain the consultant, so you will be fully involved in the process. What's the riverfront plan consultant team to do? They're going to, first of all, solicit community input. These are some pictures from the community input sessions that we had previously. Our consultant, did some interactive things with members. We had surveys. We had 3, I think, public meetings. COVID hit, and we did our last meeting over Zoom, and then we posted the results online so that people could see and still give us comments. So community input will be ongoing throughout this entire process. So, and I will invite anyone and everybody. You like the plan, you don't like the plan, come and let us know what's going on, because that's the key to having a successful project. So the consultant team will solicit community input. They're going to listen to community input. They're going to provide the design and engineering services, from the surveys to the roadways to the skating rink, everything. They're going to develop cost estimates for us, because we need costs, otherwise we can't do anything. And they're going to help us locate funding sources. There are numerous funding sources that we can tap into. The consultant team will also help us to develop riverfront zoning regulations. This shows you the many different zones near the area, but the bulk of the property in this area is zoned B1, inclusive native meadows. Their business one zone. There's a little bit of R40 on the Helen Marks Park and some of the storage yard and public works property. And then there's also a government service zone overlay, so that the government can conduct its services in conformance with zoning. So we want to come back with a zone, to propose a zone to the zoning commission that will meet the requirements of our town plan here, and to also be harmonious with the town, and so that developers, when they're looking at these properties, know what the rules are going to be. Because there's nothing worse than giving something out there and changing the rules on people. You know, they don't want to take the risk if they don't know. And we also want to develop design and architectural standards so that we know someone's not going to build a monstrosity. Because once you sell the land, if we sell it, that's another decision. But once, you know, the land is sold, you know, you lose certain control, but not if they have to abide by design and architectural standards as part of their approval. The New Milford Corporation for Economic Development, I think last time I stood here before you, I was here talking about the application for a grant to the Department of Economic and Community Development at the state. We received that grant of $200,000. We just had our first meeting with the state on the process and getting the contracts going, et cetera. So, and the corporation is very gung-ho to get going on this. It's their first project, and they're excited. And so that's really a great thing, because then we'll learn the extent of brownfield damage, and if there is really, you know, and to what extent it is, and then come up with a remediation plan, and then go for more grants. And also, we want to start doing some developer outreach so that, you know, developers know we have something that we'd like them to look at. We'd like to get their input as well, because maybe they have a great idea, you know, and hopefully their great idea will help pay for a lot of the costs of this project. What I forgot to tell you back on the map is, I'm going to back up for a minute, is that along the park roadway on Youngsfield Road, from Bridge Street until Bennett Street, I think it is, utilities will be underground. That's what makes downtown look so beautiful, is that you don't see power lines and wires and everything. You know, when downtown used to have, it was still a beautiful downtown years ago, but it had wires, you know, and telephone poles, and you couldn't see the beauty for the wires sometimes. So these wires will be coming down. We'll also get estimates to continue it. But, you know, for the private developers, that can be one of our design standards, is that they have to do underground utilities along the roadway. So going back to where we were, which is almost the end, so developer outreach. And so that's what we have planned, and be glad to take any questions, and I thank you for your time. Ms. Francis.
Thank you, Mayor Furman. Just a quick question. I'm sure it's there, but one of the things that I thought was great about the original design and the next one was that from the Youngsfield level, that you were going to have this really nice way to get up into town. Mm-hmm. Not just the steps we have, but it was going to be softer and tiered. Yes.
Yes.
And so that is still part of the plan,
Yes.
in whatever way you do it.
Yes,
But-
because that makes it accessible.
Right.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
if it's just stairs, it's not accessible.
That's right. And I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of work being done to get the cars moving around in the right way. I just look forward to, you know,
Yeah.
getting my wheelchair pushed along.
Right,
so.
exactly. Our electric scooters when we're older.
Yeah.
Also, you know, we have to take into account when planning this, maintaining it. And so we want to make the pathways and the gardens and whatever the easiest way to maintain. So
Good.
it doesn't become a burden as well to the town.
Beautiful.
Any other questions, Alex? Ms. Johnson?
It was. It's Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Two questions.
Yes.
Does this plan and the next steps, is this contingent upon having the municipal recreation area or sports complex in the works, or?
Well, I think that we can go ahead because the design and the engineering and the funding it's going to take, and the permitting, it's several years of work. So I think we can start while the mayor and his team work on the sports complex.
So I guess, Mr. Mayor, we need a meeting of the Sports Complex Committee.
What's that? I'm sorry,
The Sports Complex Committee has not met in a very long time.
They have not.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they would need to. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
with regard to maintenance, the maintenance of all these properties, fields, amphitheater, et cetera, falls under which department?
Well,
Then-
that we'll decide also at some point. We will be working with Park and Rec. You know, right now Park and Rec does maintain the fields.
Right.
Whether they continue to, you know, I'm not the boss here. Actually, you guys are. So, you know, that'll be something for all of us to discuss as it gets closer. I'm trying to think. The private properties, the lots, whoever owns them will maintain those. And, you know, when a deal can be made with the people who buy into this, the developers, that they contribute towards the maintenance of the parks as well. So that's another source of where we can fund this from.
Because it's an asset to them to have the park right
Sure,
outside their door?
yeah.
Okay. So, again, people will not lose use of the sports fields currently there until there's a replacement for them.
We will make sure that they will have a place to play.
Before they lose the one they have?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And this, Eva, is for you and for the mayor, of course, but I think, you know, when you bring up the maintenance, because this is a brand-new conceptual thing, it's beautiful, but it's really unlike anything else that we've had here, and I would just hope that that it would be done in the most efficient, economical, organized way, which to me means we might have to rethink the structure of how we have facilities and
Correct.
maintenance now. So I'm just going to put that out there for those people who want to think in those terms, because truly, it's going to be completely I mean, we have lawnmowers now that are run by remote, so I'm sure by
Yep.
the time we get around to here, that
We'll have people who can weed remotely.
we'll have it all
right?
worked out. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So,
That'd be
yeah.
fun.
Mary Jane?
For climate change and the possibility of catastrophic flooding at some point, possibly.
Well, that's why we're going to have mitigation. I mean, the design, you know, it's not just they're going to come in and do a field, plant grass. There's going to be drainage. There'll be detention basins. There'll be catch basins to route the water. Because right now there's nothing in that field.
Right.
Nothing.
Mhm.
And you know, when we had Riverfest last year,
Yeah, you
we
got
learned
flooded out.
there was nothing in that field that could help it drain. So,
So I would imagine it would have to be a pretty elaborate plan. and
well, that's
planning
why,
for the
you know,
future.
we'll bring in, that's why you need the consultants to really do it, and people who have experience in sports, because it is kind of like a sports field in a way. It has to be crowned and drained properly to do that.
So what, you know, I mean, in the past you were talking about luxury apartments or apartments for, you know.
Well, those
What-
wouldn't
so
be
what-
down there, they would be up on the other lots. Nothing's gonna be in that field. So they'll be up, you know, higher, and when you look at where the flooding happens, Jack, you're here, right, still? Does the Public Works yard flood?
Yeah, it hasn't. Recently, no.
No?
No.
No, so, you know, Public Works it's really Young's Field that gets all that flooding. And it's really not flooding because water's coming up from the river, it's really because the water has no place, it can't drain because it's not graded properly to drain, so it just sits in these puddles there.
So is there any plan for the Bleachery Dam, like looking down the river? You know, is there any plan for taking that dam out at some point?
I
or-
don't think so. I think that if you were to, this is what I've heard, so don't quote me, I'm not an expert, but I did hear it from an expert. If you take that dam out, it will change the entire water system, and you will no longer have a deep river. You'll have more of a swampy, spread out river, because that kind of holds the water back so that you have the river in a channel. It will unchannel itself. So I don't think people are looking right now to take the dam out.
Okay. Just asking, because the idea has been floated before.
Yeah.
Literally floated.
And you know, that's actually, you know, they're taking dams out, you know, where it works to take them out.
Right.
Because the best thing for nature is not to have dams.
Just a little history. Since I was around in 1955.
Yeah.
And the bridge, the water went right
Over
up
it.
to it. Was,
Yeah.
if you look at the arch of the bridge, there's only a 3-foot piece left. The native meadows was a cornfield and was totally flooded. All the buildings were big Y, and was it the insurance guy up to the roof? What I need you to think about, you talk about drainage, we talk about care and maintenance.
In hydrology,
But,
you have to take
it's
into
gonna
account.
be sometime 100 years, 1955, we're up at 23. We want to make sure that the thing that we put there doesn't get completely inundated by a
Do you know what's
fantastic flood like
interesting,
that.
Bob? One of the consultants we had talked to actually came when the Riverfront Committee was first formed. I think, Lucy, you might remember this. We had the people who did the Chicago Riverfront. I can't remember her name right now, but they came. A very big, Sakasi, was it? Something like that. It's a very big firm, and they do like really big city waterfronts. And in Chicago, where the Chicago River floods, they did like flood-proof things. I mean, you have to make everything flood-proof. I'll never forget, when the fence went up on Youngsfield Road years ago. I mean, I remember Helen Marks getting summoned by the DEP because encroachment. We were encroaching in the floodplain because leaves would get stuck in the fence, and they were saying we were encroaching in the floodplain. So whatever we do is going to have to not encroach the floodplain, So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of hydraulics, and people don't realize that what has to go into the planning. But thank you for pointing that out.
I think Chicago has had a flood since they revitalized their whole riverfront. They actually, I think it was a couple of years ago, they
Yeah.
actually had a flood.
Yeah, but it bounces back. When the river goes down, it bounces back.
It does destroy business.
Pardon me?
Can you send them your presentation?
Yes, I will. Yes, Stephanie. So any other questions?
About item B.
Yep.
Yeah.
So A, we're all
cool?
everybody's
We're all
good?
set?
Thank you very much for your
Lisa.
time and your
Now we'll go
patience
to
with
B,
that.
Mayor?
12B, you'd like to make a request to use Patriots Way for Riverfest?
So I'd like to talk to the,
Thanks for coming, Boy Scouts.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to talk to the town council about the possibility of moving Riverfest up onto Youngsfield, onto Patriots Way. It was devastating, and Paul was there with me when we just stood there and looked, because the weather forecast had been perfect. We were going to be the first festival that was going to get to go with no rain. And then the tent goes up, and then what happens? It started to change the forecast, and it rained. And it wasn't that the river came up and flooded Youngsfield. It was that the water from Youngsfield had nowhere to go.
Right.
And when the water was coming down the slope, it had nowhere to go. So it just sat there where the tent was and where the booths were going to be. So to get rid of that dynamic for this coming year, I would like to propose that we move Riverfest up onto Youngsfield. Onto Patriots Way. It was devastating, and Paul was there with me when we just stood there and looked, because the weather forecast had been perfect. We were going to be the first festival that was going to get to go with no rain. And then the tent goes up, and then what happens? It started to change the forecast, and it wasn't that the river came up and flooded Youngsfield. It was that the water from Youngsfield had nowhere to go. So it just sat there where the tent was and where the booths were going to be. So to get rid of that do you remember that where Wreaths Across America came to
Yes.
and had their truck? And so they parked the truck up on Patriots Way, and we still had the ceremony to welcome them and to honor them. It was amazing how beautiful the view was from up on top, looking down. Because you know what? When you're down on Young's Field, you don't see that river. When you're standing up on the bank, wow, you can see the whole thing. It's gorgeous. So,
Is it big enough?
it should be, and that's first of all, I just want to make, before I go planning everything, I want to make sure the council would consider this request. That it, I've talked to Jack extensively in our committee. We raised some concerns about, it's a Saturday, Sunday event, so we would have to close Patriots Way off for truck traffic,
Right.
Car traffic, I'm not worried about. Big trucks, even like the plow trucks, they're able to go under the Boardman Bridge, go Boardman Bridgeway. They can fit under the underpass. It's really the semi-trailers, the giant moving trucks that might have a problem there. But we would put up notices. We would call, we'd notice everybody way ahead of time, notify New Milford, which many people read. We'll,
And notify Waze.
Give note, and we will have detours set up.
No, I just meant for all of the tents and
Yeah,
food trucks.
yeah, there's
and-
actually a lot of footage up there.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the beautiful part of it is that the salt barn will have been moved, and the storage area will be cleaned out, and we will have more parking than this town has ever seen in one spot before. So, as far as parking, we'll have that. We will work with the local merchants and probably set aside an area for some parking for the people who live downtown overnight for their cars.
Well, if you do it up there, you're going to ensure that it'll be a beautiful, beautiful weather weekend.
But we'll have a great view of the river. And then we still could use the field maybe for some activities, like the road race would still start from there, things like that. So is that something that the council will
I'd
say
like
it's
to-
okay?
Could we let you know by, in other words, taking a look at the, I mean,
Well,
I know
I'll
what it
come
looks
back
like,
to you
but-
and show you
yeah,
how we're gonna lay
I'd
it
like
out.
to go look at it with that in my mind,
Yeah. But, I'd like to, go up, do a two-scale map and show you where the booths would
Would
be,
you?
the food
Yeah,
trucks will be,
that'd be nice.
where the parking is. I just couldn't get it all together for this evening.
Certainly consider it, though, because it's a waste when it
I have a
rains.
question.
Yes.
Chris?
Yep, so, are you gonna be utilizing the parking areas there, or just kind of along the roadway?
No, we're gonna use the parking areas.
Pardon me?
We will be using the parking areas, yes.
So will we have enough parking downtown if
That's
that's
what
all?
I was just saying, Chris, that I have to
Utilized.
come up with a plan where we can allow for some parking for the people that park there. The people who work on Bank Street.
I don't know if he could hear you. She just addressed that, Chris, that they're going to cordon off parking for people who live and work and will be shopping.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'd like to, I like the idea of just seeing it on a map.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
Me
I
too.
want to also. So I'll try to, maybe if the mayor allows it, to be on your next agenda with
Absolutely.
that. Okay?
Leba's going to
Okay.
draw the map, Chris.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Next, we're Cultural District.
Okay, that's right.
Can't
Thank
get
you,
rid of me that
Reba.
soon.
Thank you for the presentation. Okay, item 14A, Cultural District. Who's that? Changing slides?
I can't see. Oh, is this open? Is that open?
Let's do, get on one more.
One more.
You got me? Oh, thank you.
It's,
It's a little writing. Yeah.
That one, and you want me to just go ahead and start?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Good evening, members of the town council.
Oh, hi.
Mayor Bass, members of the public. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Cultural Districts Committee, together with my co-chairman Lou Mandler, who you heard speak earlier this evening. We have been
Hi,
working.
Lou.
You want to come up, Lou? She'll just wave, okay. As you know, Connecticut has established a municipal cultural district program. It's operating through the DECD as well, and they're committed to supporting the formation and establishment of cultural districts. What is a cultural district? A cultural district is an area in town that has all of our cultural assets, for profit and not for profit. But they have a definition and they have criteria that it's walkable, and it's easy for people to say, hey, I know I'm in a cultural district. It's a center of cultural activities, and it's a place where community members come and congregate to those wonderful places like the bandstand that make the community such a special place. Why establish a cultural district? Well, it's good for the town. It's good for marketing. It's good for our arts and culture attractions. It's good to promote and encourage artists and businesses to locate here. It's good for tourism. It improves our quality of life, helps our character of the community. It will create a plan to drive economic growth and help our tax base. It's part of the Sustainable Connecticut certification that we have. It contributes to Connecticut's cultural assets as well, and it highlights our community. Now this I can't read either, but basically it says these are the standards that the state has set up. And this is a state slide. You'd think they would have made it readable. What?
I can't
Katie?
read that
I know,
really
I'm
well,
gonna-
but I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Anywhere up there, does it say that a dwelling, that it can't have a residential aspect, or it can?
No, nothing like that, no.
Okay.
No. So, I'm gonna step over here for a minute.
Well, you remember the historical district had a lot of caveats.
Oh, okay. So the municipality has to approve the cultural district, which is, you. And then, we establish an ordinance for the district, and that goes to town meeting, so it's double town. You have to be in Connecticut, you have to meet the requirements, which we'll talk about. You have to have defined boundaries, must be walkable, accessible. You must have cultural facilities and assets and public infrastructure that lends itself to culture. Before we establish this, the municipality must hold at least one community input meeting, which we're going to be doing on February 6th, I think. Right, Stephanie? February 6th, so that the public can learn about the cultural district. Following that public meeting, if we make any changes to our application, we'll do those, and then we'll be back to the council for asking for your endorsement to send in the application. And that's basically it. So the committee, which was formed in August 2022, but we really didn't get going until January of 23, to be honest. We assessed the cultural district standards and criteria and said, yep, we check all those boxes, so the town is eligible for designation. We compiled inventory. We mapped the location, thanks to Public Works assistance, of the assets. We designated the boundaries, and we've completed a draft application for cultural district status. So we have, in the application, we have maps of the district boundaries, the inventory, also of the historic district and of the village center zone, because it's such a part of it, most of it is in the village center.
That's right.
We will need in there, hopefully, a letter of endorsement from the mayor, minutes of this meeting, and then also a resolution. Our committee will make a resolution endorsing the application, and then we will ask you, as the governing body, to endorse the application. The application also has a list of our committee members. It has inventories of districts, of facilities in the district and out of the district. We're lucky here in New Milford. We have things like the Northfield Schoolhouse. We have things like the Silo, Marial Center, Gaylorsville.
That's a question, Leva, because when this first came about during the sustainability, places such as Gaylorsville and Silo were not within the scope.
They're not in this district because they're not walkable.
Right.
Right,
So
but we
that-
have a listing of them, and that we'll be able to still include them in what we do. They just
They
won't
will be part of the cultural district.
No, they're not in the district, they'll be out-of-district
So what
assets.
are they what would they be called? I mean, how do you
We'll come up with a
encompass-
fancy title, besides
But in
other.
other words, they're not part of it.
They can't be,
They're
yeah,
not
by
a cultural
definition.
asset, is according to this.
No, they are a cultural asset, they're just not in the cultural district.
I hear you, but when you
A
go
town-
to apply, do an application for funding, they cannot be part of what you just showed us, part of the application is cultural district.
Right, and so funding
They can't be in
for-
that district. So you're going to use them anyway? As saying in your application,
Yeah, no,
these are...
we're allowed to list them outside.
I see.
outside,
Okay,
yeah. And
well,
other
that's
towns
good.
have done that have been designated.
Okay.
And then they ask for additional information like, arts education in the community. They want excerpts from the Plan of Conservation Development that support, cultural districts. They want to know a list of recurring public events that happen here, everything from the Irish Festival to Riverfest to Goat Days. Relevant items from our POCD, and relevant interfacing town committees and commissions, things that we will work with. And then we'll send them the zoning regs for the Village Center District and the regulations for the Historic District. These are the boundaries as designed based on the location of assets. The very top is Canterbury School with the historic chapel up there. And the very bottom here is the bleachery and hidden treasures and the old electric utility plant by Robinson Bleachery, used to be. It takes up about 0.86 square miles or 551 acres. It crosses the river and includes the little antique stores along Route 7 there. And do you remember, Lou, what's up on the other side there, why it goes? East Street School, I know, is there. I can't remember what, but there's things in there that were in the district as well. What? Well, Theater Works is for sure there, yeah, it's in the center. So here's the assets. We listed and mapped 120 different assets. Each category has its own separate map. So if you just want to have a map of memorials in town, everything from the Lincoln Memorial to the World War II Memorial, to you name it, there's a map for that. And the same thing for town facilities and historic buildings. The committee members are myself and Lou as co-chairmen, Amy Birkin, Valerie Lorimer, Ella Newman, Olga, Rella, Jason Roberts, Deborah Rose, and Leland Williams. And we are representatives of Arts Commission, Arts Education, Economic Development, Artists, Education, Film Commission, the Library, a Music Performance Group, and Tourism. Deborah Rose is Tourism. She's on your Milford Now person. Moving forward, as I said, we're going to hold this community input meeting. We're going to request a town council resolution, and then we're going to submit the application to the state through the Regional Art Council. So this is a go up through the Regional Arts Council to the state level. The state will send people out to meet with Mayor Bass and other relevant people. They'll take a walking tour of the district, and then they'll meet with committee members and perhaps some stakeholders to hear about the goals and objectives. And then we get approved. So then the town council has to establish a committee or a commission. Now, whether you establish a new board, a freestanding board, or you say to the planning commission, let's just pick a commission, you make an advisory council that reports to us, and then that's how that works. Or you can tell the planning commission, you are the cultural commission, all right? So, there's 3 ways to do it. And that's going to be, a decision for you to make at the time. And I'm sure the mayor will have a
Are
recommendation
those
for
3
you.
things dictated by the people that are going to give the grant? Is that how you came up with that?
No, that's how the state, these are the 3
That's
ways
what I
the
meant,
state
yeah.
said you have to do it. There is no grant attached here, Katie, right
Well, you
now.
know,
Yeah, it's just designation.
Designation.
So, and these are who has to be on the cultural commission. Town officials, local cultural people, artists, creative businesses, tourism, all of these things. So say the planning commission had artists and filmmakers and tourism people, then, you would fulfill the requirement. It's kind of like how.
Will this all be set up at the February 6th public meeting? All of this information?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'll tell you, one of the things that bothered me about the designation, and it's really bugging me now.
Yeah.
We have beautiful cultural, artistic things outside the center of our town, but
Yeah.
they're not included in this. I understand their thing is walkability, but I think it's a little bit of it's ignoring. And again, we have a lot of areas in the town of New Milford that are beautiful for all of the things that this area you're saying will bring, but they'll have no easy way to know about them. It's not part of the cultural district. We're bringing everybody into town, which is great, but if you own some businesses in Gaylordsville or Northville or on the south end of town, you might say, well, what about us? And I'm just, not that I'm against this, but I think it's an aspect that has been mentioned to me. It's been obvious to me that how do we compensate, for lack of a better word, to include those people in the tourism aspect?
We will. We're going to coordinate this with New Milford now, so like our website.
Yeah, but that's just, okay,
No, but
I understand.
Let me just finish.
I understand.
And so there will be a section that's the district, and then, but, wait a minute, you should stop by here too. We can do that kind of stuff. That's, as long as we market the district, we can still market other things. Anyway, we have to have goals and objectives, a management plan. We have the map, a marketing plan, and our goals and success metrics. We have to have 2 signs that say Cultural District in New Milford. And then they want us to provide data if they should ask for it. And the data would be things like visitation data, sales tax in the district based on tourism, number of full-time jobs, that kind of stuff. And I expect they're not going to ask for this until it's time to give out money.
Are we going to receive this in a pamphlet or copies rather? This is the first time we're seeing this.
I understand.
Right.
I'll get this all to you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we can consider it and digest.
That's why I'm here to tell you about it, and then we're going to come back and ask for your endorsement.
Okay.
Okay? And the state will, right now, their investment is kind of like free. It's in helping us promote the districts. There's really no money at this point in time. Where there could be some money to come to us is through Sustainable Connecticut, through their community matching fund program, where we could say we're looking for money to do this for our cultural district, and then they would match what we raise. Kind of like, I think Sustainable did something similar for Holton Meadows when they did some cleanup work there. And so that pretty much is the presentation.
Great, and the idea is that February 6th will be a public look at, to see, ask questions, et cetera, and then from there, it would come back to the council? So that's, okay, so that's less than a month, and, all right. I'm just thinking ahead of, what we have going on, and back a little bit to the overall thing that Alex brought up about bringing in something such as this, which is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, I love the cultural aspect of our town. It's beautiful. But we have a lot of other things going on. And the manpower, I know there's no money, you're saying, but I just saw the list of the committee and the things that need to be done. And that's volunteers and people in various agencies of the town that have to find the time and effort to do it. That's all.
Believe me, I understand.
I know you know.
I know
you
that,
know.
and I think Lou
And I'm
knows
just,
that very
the more
well,
I
too.
looked at it, the more I
At
thought,
time, yeah.
who the heck is going to, who's
And
going to take
remember,
on something
it
else?
was the council who asked who formed the committee and asked us to do this work. So, and so we've, brought it to this point, and hopefully,
When we brought it up, there are other towns that we compete with as we're looking at this area to be arts-centric. So we're competing with Ridgefield. Torrington just became a cultural district. New London just became one.
Washington, Connecticut is about to become one. Yeah.
So if we're really going to be in the arts game, if that's what we're thinking of doing, you need to have this. This brings in additional people, and I thought it was horrible that we couldn't bring in, for instance, the Silo or bring in
Or Merwinsville.
Mariel or Merwinsville. But that's the state. They're absolutely, we tried to put fingers on there. They told us no. The only way to do it is they would be ancillary that we could put in our marketing pieces.
Or that at some point, let's get this district done, and then maybe we can apply for a second cultural district, the Northville area district, because there's enough assets up there, I think.
Yeah, right.
And Gaylordsville has, a few.
So the time frame you're looking at then would be the beginning of March?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to, when the council's ready to vote on it, we'll be here.
After budget?
It's whenever the mayor asks me to be here.
There you go.
I just think that maybe there's a way to have transportation as part of how we support the cultural district, so that we have transportation to some of the other places.
Culture
in the
bus,
center of town.
a culture bus.
Culture bus, yeah.
There you go.
Have a little double-decker hop-on, hop-off bus here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the jitneys.
Yeah.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes, Chris?
Hey, just a question. Did I hear, I'm not sure if I heard this correctly, if there's going to be events within the cultural district, is there another agency or another hoop that has to get jumped through for like a festival or something like that?
No, your Irish festival is going to be great, and it's on our list.
Nope.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah,
It's more marketing piece.
Right. It's
all
a great
this is
idea.
marketing.
And it's great marketing, and we should be involved. I just hate to leave people out.
I agree with you.
I don't know. Thank you, Liba.
Okay, thank you.
And your committee.
Maybe you're gonna send that to me too?
Okay.
Yeah, and to the rest of us, right?
Next
Mayor?
I'll be, yes,
Yeah, I'll
next
send
I'll be
it to,
real quick because we're at 9:30 and we have
And we have to.
Capitol and then where's Randy? I don't know where he went.
He went outside to
Oh,
walk.
okay. Then we have executive session. So just real quick, when it comes to economic development, statistically for our employment, currently we're at 3.5% unemployment. We have 14,798 people that could be employed. 14,282 are. That leaves 516 approximately unemployed, which is 3.5%. State average is 3.9%. So we're a little bit below state average, and kind of a little bit lower for towns our size. In that area, just real quick, you had Sparrow open to much fanfare. You had the Q that just opened up. We're having two movies, one that just that were filmed here in New Milford that are going to be premiering. The first one already did, which was Founders Day, and then Candlewood now will reopen, which is awesome. We're looking to reformulate with the Film Commission to add more strength. We're going to do some marketing to get more movies to New Milford. So we're excited about that opportunity, as that's a good space for continued vitality. Tom, are you still on there?
I sure am.
Tom, can you give the metric to the council, like when a film comes, what's those dollars? I know when you were on the Film Commission, what were those dollars that circulated?
It's the multiplier effect. For every dollar brought in from outside of our area, it spreads to our community 3.71 times. It's called the multiplier effect. Money brought in is fresh money in our local economy.
So if we can get a $3 million movie, that's $9 million that circulates through the town. We do have we do have some films that are continue to be interested. I believe in the last 2 years we've had 4 films. I know Holly Jolly will be coming out, I think, next year.
Yeah.
That was that bigger one. So we're excited about that, and I'll just leave it at that for now and then go on to the next one, because I know we're getting close. I'm sorry, Alice.
No, that's okay. That multiplier effect, is that a standard number or is that specific to New Milford?
Hey, Tom, that's standard?
That's the standard number, yes, it's an average.
Okay, only because I would expect a lot of places have more hotel, motel type of facilities than we do, so maybe we don't make quite as much because they can't necessarily
Good
stay
point.
in town.
But we charge more for the popcorn, so.
We
The multiplier effect means that no matter what dollar is spent in town,
Right.
it moves, by the time, from when it's first spent, it moves 3.71 times, which means 3.71 people touch that dollar. The film brings it in, they buy it at the restaurant, the restaurant buys it from the farm buys it from the supply house, and so on and so forth. It moves through the community 3.71 times. The international multiplier effect.
Thank you, Tom. Mayor?
Thank you, Tom.
I just wanted to address what Alice just said, that, for example, the film Candlewood, premiering this Saturday night, is, they hosted, they had Airbnbs, they rented places, they used little inns, they rented homes, so a lot of these people, they get their housing in town.
I just know that most communities have more places to stay, so that would be one less touch, so to speak, yeah. Great, okay. I have another question before you move off economic development.
Yes, ma'am.
Will we hear again from our folks who were supposed to have pop-ups on Bank Street, et cetera? Because I feel like Bank Street's losing ground, not gaining ground, especially at the bottom of the hill. I'm just concerned and would love to hear if there's anything
Absolutely. I'll
moving.
ask if Tony Vengrove
Yeah.
and Ole can come and present either the next time I'll see their availability or the time after. Absolutely.
Because they were pretty excited about it, but then,
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest there. I know there's more, so I'll ask him to come and update the council.
great.
A couple of them done pretty well, though.
Absolutely.
Just a reminder, you have to adjourn at 9:30 or move to suspend the rules.
I thought we changed that.
No, you changed it to 9:30.
We changed it from 10 to 9:30.
Oh, who decided that?
You guys.
So
It's a smart
I'm
move.
kidding.
could we entertain a
Yeah,
motion
so
to
I'd
go
like
to
to
10?
move that we extend the meeting time till
10.
10.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay,
Katie?
item 14C. This is going to be a motion to appropriate the following capital items out of the town capital reserve,
Yep.
and there is an attachment which
We don't have.
We never saw it in passing. It doesn't come on our email.
You guys got it on your Wednesday packets.
No, it's on here.
It's not coming on email.
No, but it's not here either.
it's in the Wednesday packet.
No, it's not in here. It's not in
No,
here.
it's not in anything.
Is that one sheet you just had in front of you there, Mayor? Did you see that?
Hang on, let me pull up Wednesdays. Let me pull up Wednesdays. That's why I
It
brought
was part of before the first edition,
It's not in this, it's not what we got tonight.
But you got it in
but
your
he got it on
Wednesday
Wednesday.
packet for Wednesday, because
first edition
you had
of
told me
the-
before that you were concerned the last time
Right.
that I didn't give you that information, so I gave it to you on Wednesday.
Right.
So should it have been attached to the agenda on Wednesday?
Yes,
Yeah.
the Wednesday
It wasn't
agenda.
there.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
I know, it wasn't on mine. I don't get any attachments, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Could somebody
It's
check
all
into
part
that?
of the same,
Here, let me just pull it up real quick.
when you open up the
Right.
document, right, the PDF, you start with the first 6
Right.
pages, just keep going through the minutes and keep on going down through everything. So then when the revised version comes out, you start there and you go all the way down to see whatever is new.
I know, I looked, I didn't see it.
Usually, the support information I can have the hard copies, I don't have to print them at home, and they come in this green packet, but they're not attached in the packet.
I don't know, I don't get involved in the packet part, sorry. I
You
can
don't,
only tell you.
you don't have it either, right?
It's
Okay.
one singular document, I believe.
Yes,
It is.
it is. It's all one PDF with pages after pages after
I'll go back and
pages.
look at mine, but I looked, because then I did scroll all the way
Hang
down, and
on.
I didn't see anything.
The mayor's scrolling. Hold on.
Oh, I'm good.
He's scrolling. Is Randy still with us?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
He's
are.
over there.
Stretching is here.
You better get going, he's gonna crash over there.
So, well,
Let's
Well, yeah, the agenda comes out in the PDF form, so, yeah. And I
Here's
scrolled all way
the
down, but I didn't
Wednesday
see it.
agenda.
Right,
So the Wednesday's agenda had the supporting documents
right.
to the request,
Yes, it had all of the various
as well as
agency
the
stuff.
request itself.
Had the
So
thing
here
from
you
the
see
police
it.
department.
Yep,
right?
it says
All
capital.
Right after the Sullivan Farm.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you,
after-
Chris.
Right, it was right after the pictures.
So
of
here it said
Sullivan
capital
Farms.
reserve request to town council. Please see the request to appropriate out of town council New Milford capital reserve. IT, and we have Dave Watson here. Computer replacement, 25,000. Migration to Microsoft Office 2021 for the town of New Milford computers, 55,584.10. Dave, can you come up and talk a little bit about the request?
I know, I saw it. I saw that.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
So the two items, first off, the 25K for computers. We have a number of computers that our staff are using that are 7, 8, 9 years old that are desperately need to be replaced. Unfortunately, those computers, when they were purchased as all in one computer. So the computer, the monitor, it's all one unit. So when it gets replaced, we don't have the benefit of keeping the monitors. You have to replace the entire unit. So this is going to cover in and around 25, give or take, computers, depending on what we can pull off. And then Office, we are currently using 2016, which goes end of life at the tail end of this year for extended support. Currently, 2021 is the newest version of the perpetual model. What that means is it's the only version right now available to us, the most recent one, that is not subscription-based. If we went subscription-based, we'd be spending significantly more money year over year to do the same thing for our staff.
Okay. And you addressed Microsoft Office?
Yes, that was.
2021.
Yes, sir.
And that's something we need to do, or what happens?
We don't have support, we don't have updates, and all that we do for cybersecurity, this is one of the big whopping holes. We have this installed on 170 workstations, and every single one of those, when we get updates once a month for our computers, Microsoft is not just patching Windows, they're also patching Office. We will no longer get those updates, so we are introducing vulnerabilities into the organization that, with your help, we have spent so much money to shore up and get to where it needs to be to protect the town and the public.
Counterproductive, huh?
It would be.
55,584.10. And for the computer replacements for 25,000. Any additional questions for Dave at the moment? Okay, next would be the New Milford Police Department. New firearms and holsters for 59,320. Chief, can you come up and talk about the need for new firearms and holsters for the New Milford Police Department?
Did you give the total amount?
59,320.
Right, and the total amount that we want to move?
Yeah, it's right here.
Is 100.
Good evening, everyone.
Right.
The request is based in large part in that the weapons that we carry now, the SIG 320, is at its 10-year mark. And that's generally the acceptable range for these weapons. Usually after that 10-year mark, we look to start replacing them. In addition, the weapon has been, in the recent year, been involved in a few different incidents where there have been misfires in other towns, and it brought to light the reliability of the weapon. So the age of them, the reliability, and a lot of towns are now switching away from them. And as a matter of fact, the state police have moved away from the SIG and have moved to the Glock, which I am proposing we move to. The current weapon we carry is a .40 caliber weapon, which has some strong stopping power. The weapon I propose we move to is a 9mm Glock. The Glock is a more simple weapon, a lighter weapon, and of a smaller caliber, 9mm smaller than a .40 caliber. Now, a 9mm bullet has advantages in that it is less expensive than the .40 caliber rounds. While it doesn't have the same stopping power, it has more penetrating power. So, it has its advantages and disadvantages, but I think it's a better weapon system. In addition, our weapons do not include the red dot sight. looking back to the Bristol shooting where the officers were involved, the one officer who survived that shooting took a shot from about 25 yards away using a red dot aiming laser, and that officer was able to neutralize the suspect with one shot, in large part because of that red dot laser. Now that helps us because we want to be as accurate as possible. We want to send as few rounds down range as possible to avoid collateral damage. So this money would also allow us to purchase the red dot aiming sight for each weapon. So the entire system would obviously help the officers and provide an excellent opportunity for them to be as accurate as possible.
And Chief, the ammo for these guns is like 8550, is that the request? For the
Yes.
ammunition for the weapons?
Yes.
So the total for the PD?
It's all totaled all down here at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Alex?
I don't know if you can tell me this or not, but in a year, how many times are weapons discharged in our community during the line of duty, not training?
Yes, so in the line of duty, we rarely have that. We did have one this year. It was up on Stone Tent, and it was a struggle where the officer was ground fighting with the individual, and the individual was grabbing for the weapon, and the gun was fired. There are a handful of times where the officer pulls the weapon and points the weapon, and we consider that a use of force situation where we do look into that. And like I said, that's a handful of times during a year.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? So
Can I
far?
just have one?
Yep, Chris?
Chief, what happens to the weapons that are being retired?
They'll be part of the purchase, so we will be trading them in. The approximate cost for each weapon system, including the red dot aiming sight, a flashlight, and the 17-round clip will be about $1,000 each. The trade-in's about $250, but I'm not exactly sure on that at this point.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay.
Glad you're doing it.
Yeah, I think the timing's right.
Then there was
Thank
just,
you.
There was just two more requests. The next one was from the library, and that was in your Wednesday packet, was the AV equipment from Memorial Hall. That's the big hall. That equipment needed to be updated. That came to $4,905. Then, as you see, if you do walk into the library, you see like the children's area, the teen center. The AV rooms doors are shut, and that's Fire Marshal Reynolds had instructed those to be closed unless there was a system that could be put in that could note the alarm with the door open. So there is a system that United Alarm had told the library that they could do. They're door holders that connect to the fire alarm for open door access. So they have access now, which is what the librarians have requested. Sue Ford and the children's teen ones. That comes to $5,224. Then they asked for an additional lobby display for a display fixture for the lobby and bookcase for the teen room. That was $1,589. And then the last request was from the town clerk. Every 10 years, they have to do an index to the land records. This is done once every 10 years, and that's a cost of $17,955. So the full request for all of these, IT, police, library, and town clerk, would be $178,127.10.
So I made a
So
motion.
moved.
Right, I made a motion that we would appropriate, I didn't have a number, so Stephanie, can you put that number in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and
And I'll second that.
And do we have any discussion?
How much have we used already? Like, how much was the last?
It was $2 million. I can check real quick for you here. Just give me 1 second. That's a little over the last one.
you got it? I got it.
You got it?
There you go.
$2,086,790. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex.
That's okay, I thought you were busy. Okay, so, can we have a list of all of these items? Because
We
they're
do.
not going into the upcoming budget because we're purchasing now.
We do.
Correct.
So can that list be in print with our budgets when we begin the budget process so we know they were purchased?
Well, we have the list from the 2.8,
I would like,
every single thing.
yes,
And you have the list, but unfortunately didn't get copied in the hard copies.
correct.
Okay, so we'll just add those two together?
But it would be nice to have that since they will not be asked for when we go through
Absolutely.
the budget.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So comprehensive list?
Well, we could definitely do that.
Great. Okay, so, any other questions? Is there anything else coming forward, or is this it?
As of right now, that's what I forecast so far, but as we go through and look at our capital requirements, there may be the need to take out a capital reserve, especially when we continue to look at our buildings and our structures, both on the town side and the educational side. Those will be the decisions that the Board of Ed would have to make in the town together. There's going to be some big ones. They'll be coming online to the council and the board. For instance, the first roof that's going to need to be redone will be the Northville roof. That right now, current dollars, you're probably looking at about $5 million. Then you have the Hill and Plain roof. That's going to need to get done. And then there's other capital requirements that you'll see as we're going to try and merge the two capital requirements together. As I had spoke with Matt Cunningham about some of the needs for the district. For instance, I know Jack was there too, and we talked. When you go and you look at our parking lots that are in all the districts, they all need to be redone. The sidewalks, especially at the high school, they need to be repaired and some be replaced. We're also looking at, as we talked about a year and a half ago, Scotticoke School is going to need their oil tank removed and replaced. You can't do it in ground anymore, so in speaking with Matt, we may go with a propane solution, which is cheaper. The two current boilers that they have now are these big behemoth boilers. They are very good at what they do, but fuel efficiency, it's like driving a Hemi, getting like 1 mile to the gallon. So his thoughts were we go to propane, but there's a cost of bringing in new equipment and then pulling out that tank, redoing all of the parking lots, both on the Scotticoke side and the Northville side. And speaking with Jack and Matt, Dr. Parlato and Wendy, making that more of a campus for the parking for each side, maybe connecting with a pedestrian bridge so that the kids can use that. And then Jack is working with Matt now because we have a challenge of Hip Road when you've got the parents coming in to pick up and drop off their kids. You have all that traffic, is having the buses up at Scotticoke change to a different way. So we're working all those. So those are all different costs that may impact our capital reserve, the same as the boards. And then other things that we may need to do as a municipality as well, that we may see that comes up, which is why we're working on the capital plan.
Okay. So,
And Alex, what I'll also do too as well is the surplus that we're using that has gone to the capital reserve, this money's really coming from not through taxes. This is coming from additional funds that we have received that aren't from the taxpayer. And I'll give you an example. So we got over on the town side, I think it was almost $1.2 million in interest income. That was over and above the budgeted number that we have. We also got money when we do go out to the bond, we get what's called the bond premium. So the investor pays you for the right to get your thing. I believe that was about $700,000. So right there, you're about 1.9 million already, just those two tranches. We got an additional $500,000 from the state that we never expected to get. I thought Greg was gonna be here, but well over $2 million right there. And then you look at some of the departments. For instance, our building, as we talked about before, last year was the busiest they were ever in the history of New Milford. So fee-wise, that produced $700,000 from 400. So that was an extra $300,000 that we didn't budget for because we didn't know we'd be that busy, that you're able now to apply to capital. Something that's going to last. The bond companies love it. Our auditors love that we're doing that in this way. And as you're going to see, the impacts of the budget, especially when we're looking at educational in town, the superintendent came out with hers at a 4.46%. So anything that we can do to mitigate the effect on the taxpayer without asking them for additional funds when we have in our capital, I think is a great investment for us to make on the town side.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Thank you, everybody.
Did you guys vote?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody
All
voted.
right.
All right, just checking.
Thank you, everybody.
Item 15, I'd like to move us into executive session, inviting in Town Attorney Randy DeBella. And this is regarding pending litigation between JEE and the New Milford Police Department.
Is there a second?
I need a second.
Is there a second?
Mary Jane, second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We got 17 minutes.
Walter, I'll email it.
All right, I'll have to hang up.
Okay. I'd like to move to return to regular session. I have a second?
No motions.
I will say that. I
Yep.
usually do it after, but no motions were taken, made and no votes were taken in executive session, but I'd like to have a motion for us to return to regular session, please.
All in favor?
Okay?
Paul did.
Paul was the second.
Okay.
Okay, good. I'd like to move that we resolve the matter discussed in executive session along the lines of our discussion in this matter of G versus the NMPD.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
Move adjourned.
Oh,
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, aye, aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody. Thank you.